Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Yes.
Now I can hear
you. What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Hey.
I'll be back in 5 seconds.
All right. He waits till we go live to do that. Like, what the hell?
Quick cameo, quick exit. No.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. So whatever you did, though, Jeff, we can't hear you.
Your button might be on again, Jeff.
I should be back now.
There you go.
Yep. The whole time we're in the green rooms, the dogs don't bark. And the moment we go live, they start. So I've just pushed them out of the office.
Nice.
And what's up, Tom? Good to see you. See who else is in the room entering. Mr. Redjack, what's up? What's up? And of course, Jeff already saying hello. And how was everyone's day? No one here seemed to care. It was Star Wars Day. Bummed me out. It's not it's not a real holiday though, right? Like, Tom? I think
I'd say it's more of an internet holiday.
What's that, Kavi?
I said I would say it's more of an internet holiday.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a whole month.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, for me, it's just 1 out of 31 days or whatever. So,
Rickster, what's going on, bud? Good evening to you. Marcus, happy century. Wow, he's like, when he grabs onto something, he doesn't let it go. I hope all of you who have Century Art make tons of sales. How about that? For 39 grand and 232 grand, whatever you were charging, Marcus. I wish you luck.
I got so close to pulling the trigger on Marcus's page. Like,
did you? Yeah, well, it was tempting.
Yeah, I raised $6,000 towards it, but I just didn't quite get to 238K. Just
a little under the wire.
Exactly.
Evening, CJ. Peter Rowe, what's going on? Good to see you, Peter. Carl, whoa, early tonight. Just popping in early to say, may the 4th be with you. Are you bolting? Gonna go do something with the fam? What's going on?
He's gonna go watch Star Wars instead of us chatter.
All right.
That's what he said in the chat, I think.
Good evening, Vivian. Thank you, honey. Appreciate it. I still need to celebrate the day and by watching the latest episode of Andor. Okay. Go to it. And hey, Ian's here. What's going on, Ian? Wow, Tom's getting excited now. Wow. Who else is here? Evening, triple thread. Yes, sir. Happy Century Day to you too. Fastest guest bailout ever. Jeff holds the record, I guess. Look at that. Ian Saint shirt. Wow.
Ian Saint is synonymous with Star Wars. So
that's funny. Yeah. May the Thunderbolts be with you. Yeah. What did you think about that movie? Tell everybody what you thought about it. I know already, but tell everybody.
Well, yeah. I shared some thoughts about it on my Instagram. I had fun watching it.
Okay.
I think I rated it somewhere between a 7 and 8.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
7 and 8, something like that.
All right. My lovely wife welcomes you.
Hey, baby.
Well, Derek Neiman always saying, or whatever that's supposed to say. Something like that, I guess.
Big pink hippo.
It's like a scary looking thing, whatever it is. What's up, Derek? Good to see you. And who pushed the dogs out? I don't know. Oh, look at that video.
Well, I prepared many background for tonight's show.
Oh, thanks, Peter. Good to see you too. Another Ian on the West Coast. 2 Ians on the West Coast. This one more south. What's up, Jewish Dragons? Good to see you. Pretty big holiday around here. I saw a Stormtrooper on a unicycle the other day.
He sent me pics.
Okay. Still here. My wife's putting the kids to bed. Oh, okay. But it sounded like you said you had to go and do stuff. You're going to go see that Andor show, Carl. Watching it live?
You can watch it whenever.
That's true.
Oh, but he said, I guess he wants to see it on the 4th. Somehow it means more or something.
Yeah, they dropped a new animated show today as well on Disney for Star Wars. Tales of the Underworld. They're only like 15-minute long episodes or something. It's
okay.
So pretty short, like standalone thing. Yeah.
I see.
Yep. If I weren't here tonight, I'd be down at the theater. Local theaters doing a screening of a new.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'd love to see the animated stuff on a bigger theater screen. That'd be fun.
Marcus wants to know if you have any Ezra art.
Oh yeah, the racial lines of Star Wars.
I want to see white Ezra. He looks pretty white to me. That's all I can say. Even in the colored version, by the way, not just judging by the original art. Or I watched The Help Fall Asleep. Andor. Oh, okay. So Tom's not a fan of that Andor show.
It's a dialogue-heavy show, I would say.
I don't know if
I love it though, personally. But yeah,
I don't know if I could sleep through the wedding dance scene though.
Yeah, definitely.
And that music's pretty hopping.
It is.
Don't know what you're talking about. Don't want to know. Anyways, everybody, good to see you all. Thank you again for tuning in, stopping by. Obviously, as you saw by the thumbnail for tonight's episode, it is indeed sort of a Star Wars celebration of sorts. It's nothing really in particular. There was certainly not enough time for me to go through 7,000 different pieces of Star Wars art to pick like favorites or anything like that.
Or look at anyone else's gallery either.
What's that?
Or look at anyone else's gallery. And between Kavi and I, we've got the first 7,000, right?
Yeah. So anyways, that's it. So
I was told that it was like all going to be art that wasn't in our galleries for a change, which is like I think I prefer that for a show like this. So then I could just be surprised, just like that Decades and Eras show that we did a few weeks back or whatever. Although I did get to pick a few from people's galleries for that one. Yeah. Well, you did all the picking.
Yeah. I mean, I did all the picking
across all of what you could find, right?
Listen. So you all know it's about the total of 32 pieces, I believe it is. We'll see the first 10, just kind of these random things that I did see as I was kind of looking through some of the art. Just random stuff that caught my eye. I thought, oh, that's cool. Let me just pick these, And so there's 10 of those, or maybe 9 or 10, something like that. And then after that, we will see, those are without slides. Those are just individual scans. And then after that, we'll see, I believe, a 22 piece selection, those of which are all on slides, and all are a selection of all the, I guess you'd call it, I don't know, Generation 1, the Marvel Star Wars series cover art from people that have actually owned it for many, many years. So I was thinking that there's a really good chance that a lot of the viewers will not have seen them, just because, most people don't, they have enough trouble keeping up with the daily posts, right? Looking at new art, and who has time to go back into random galleries and just stay there for hours looking, So hopefully a lot of the pieces will feel new to a lot of the viewers tonight, So
ooh, that sounds like a relaxing weekend though. Nothing else on the schedule, just going back into old galleries for hours with no chores to do around the house. If you've got
nothing else to do, if you've got nothing else in your life going on, I guess that's possible, Before we get into that real quick, everybody, as always, I just want to do a couple of quick shout outs. Nikki B, the link, again, they don't, Jay or Kyle do not usually tend to schedule the shows in time for me to have the links. But as always, I guess, you know what, I always post this on the screen so people can see, just because it's an easy URL, and it's youtube.com/theexp for Nikki B. But I guess I can also just paste that for anybody watching who may not have been there ever before. You got the link in the chat there. You can go directly to it with that link. And for those,
they're live now with the show, because I just got a notification that they went live to.
Oh, really?
For whatever show they're doing right now.
Okay. And here it is, everybody. There's Nick Barucci himself, and that's the show's every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, and it is a claim show, but kind of also a talk show. So talk show / claim show, a lot of fun. So a lot of us here, of course, are hang out there whenever we can in the chat as well. So please do check that out. And let me see. Also, Carl, who of course is here with us. Carl is back after taking a couple of weeks off being busy with family stuff and holidays and whatnot. Carl has put out an unboxing. It is unboxing number 41. And so please do check that out at this link that I'm putting in right here.
Oh, did he put out a new comic art one? Not just comic books this week?
Yeah, it's a.
Okay. Don't spoil then. I need to go back and watch it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying. Yeah. That's why I always try not to say anything because I don't like to spoil it. But then was it today? Early today or yesterday? He put out his 30th episode of Bagged and Boarded, where he reviews comics that he's been reading lately, and that's cool. I like that because I really like how Carl reviews, very, very honest and straightforward about everything. He doesn't just butter everything up and say everything's great. So that's cool. I like that. And here you can check that out with the direct link right there. So yeah, there you go. Please do check that out if you have a chance. Zip it. That's right. Oh, and Marcus. He's like, them's fighting words. Harrison Ford fans unite. Look at that. Wow. He's my favorite. What's up, JC? What's going on, dude?
Although we now know it's Peter Mayhew.
I know it's Peter Mayhew in Chewbacca. What do you mean? What are you talking about? He's Chewbacca.
Right, but we now know that he's your favorite Star Wars character.
Oh. Well, I like Darth Vader and Darth Maul, but they're like the bad guys. So if you want to kind of split it up because it's hard. How do you choose your one favorite when you have good and bad, right? How? I mean, some people
have to have a choice for an action figure from each in order for them to, have any play value.
Well, if you
need a good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
With so many characters and like little pockets of fandom, there's just, it's hard to pick favorites. Like you have your go-tos, but then you have other characters that you might have a soft spot for that, creep up your own personal list over the years. Like Dr. Aphra in the comics, I would say for Jeff is probably a good, more newer character shout,
Yep.
So there's all sorts of great characters in Star Wars.
Yeah, and my favorite, really, if I have to choose a favorite, Alyssa Milano, which I haven't seen yet, but except for in the comics, thanks to Jeff, who has introduced me to the fact that she became a character. I've always been a fan of hers, so that's really, really awesome. I look forward to actually seeing her in like a show or a movie or whatever. And she plays herself. I mean, how great is it? Like she uses her own name. To me, that's the best. So
all you need is a spacey 70s haircut.
Why 70s? Nah. I mean, Star Wars continues now into the 2020s, so.
But it still has the vintage future aesthetic applied to it.
Vintage. Okay.
They still raid.
Like retro tech.
Yeah, retro appliances get put into kitchens of the future.
Yeah.
Okay. well put. Look at that. Ruben only drives Chevys. No Fords allowed in his driveway. Speaking of cars and driveways, just last night I decided to watch. Not that this has anything to do with Star Wars, but I just figured I'd mention it really quickly. Surprise! It went all the way back to 2008, so it's already like 17 years ago. I watched Clint Eastwood. What the hell is it called again? Gran Torino. Anybody watch that? You guys watch that?
Yeah.
A long time. Yeah, like the year it came out.
Yeah, like when it came out.
Okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, pretty good flick.
My first car was a 72 Torino.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What a coincidence.
Much like the Millennium Falcon, it was a piece of junk.
Yeah. I mean, mine was a 94 Camaro, also a piece of junk, but
really
a little bit newer piece of junk.
Yeah, I was in high school. My dad was still in the Air Force. We were living at a small base in rural Missouri. And my mom replied to an ad in the local paper to go buy a dishwasher from a guy who was getting orders to transfer. And for $150, she brought back the car and the dishwasher. So
Wow.
It was not a high-value car.
Sweet deal.
Yeah.
Rick, I've never heard of the Mule, or maybe I haven't. I've just forgotten because it's a pretty terrible sounding name. I don't know. Is that recent? Hey, Maki Poo Poo, what's going on?
Maki.
That where is that where it is at? That's where it's at. Is what you're trying to say? That's where it's at? Logical
reasoning gets you there.
Okay. Happy 4th to you as well, Michael. Thank you. That's recent for Eastwood. I thought he had one like in the last 2 or 3 years, didn't he? Where he looks really like he's really, really old now. I mean, he looked older than
in the Mule. I know I didn't see his last film, so.
Oh, are you saying that? Oh, okay. Sorry, recent. So the Mule is a recent.
Mule might be the name of that. Yeah.
Got you. Wow. Okay. Yeah. He's like in his late 80s now, isn't he?
Has to be.
Has
not even 90.
Maybe even 90 or something.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty crazy, man. Juror number 2, is he? Okay. Well, anyways, I don't want to get off a track too much there, fellas, but yeah, why don't we get into it?
Yeah.
I did my shout outs. Oh, and just real quick, there's no names to shout out, but wanted to, as always.
Rick says that Clint's 94.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Well played.
That's really crazy. But yeah, shout out to my newest subs. You're all anonymous this week. There was quite a few of you, but couldn't see any of your names due to your own privacy settings not allowing me to. But thank you, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's nutty. Yeah, thank you for dropping that that knowledge. 94. Wow, man. That's yeah. And you know, the sad thing, again, not to get off track, but the sad thing about like when you hear about these actors that you kind of watched your whole life, and especially if you enjoy them, and when they're up there, any artist really, right? Anybody whose work you enjoyed, and then they're kind of in a public eye, as they're getting up to these ages, it's, to me anyways, it's sad because I can't help thinking like, okay, like when it's the day, any day now, we're gonna hear, you'll be on Facebook or wherever, and you're gonna hear that person just died. You know what I mean? Because it's.
I mean, Harrison Ford is 83 or 82 or something. So.
Oh, he's in his 80s already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm scrolling Facebook and there's a celebrity photo, it's sort of like, is this the announcement?
94. Yeah, it's sad. So I don't like to think about that. My one of my favorite illustrators, Robert McGinnis, passed away in March, so a little over a month ago. At the age of 99, and as you can imagine, basically ever since I've been, when I got into that hobby and collecting this type of art, he was basically 80 or something like that when I first got into it, right? So from the beginning, I was like, oh my God, like, wow, 80, he could be gone any day now. But it's like amazing, right? Like that he went all the way to 99, whatever. Like, yeah, and imagine he was able to draw. He was still drawing covers for this small publisher called Hard Case Crime, and doing published covers for them at least as recently as 5 years ago when he was 94.
Wow.
94 painted covers. Imagine. Holy crap!
I'm gonna go ahead and assume you pulled a Butch Guice Star Wars piece.
Holy crap! Not only did I do that, Kavi, but because next week I decided I'll do a career retrospective on him.
Yeah.
So that'll be for next week. But because it just happened 3 days ago, we're gonna start with the first piece by Butch. Yeah, I figured why not. Yeah, exactly. Great. Yeah, good. I like your thinking. Gran Torino was the second movie produced by Jeanette Kahn's production. Jeanette Kahn? She passed though, right? She's passed on now, I think. Which she set up after leaving DC. I didn't know that she went into movie production after she left DC. Wow. Thank you, Ian. That's interesting news. Oh God, long live Harrison Ford. He's almost 95 now. Wow. I'm doing a Deadpool. I'm going with Shatner. If I'm doing a Deadpool, Shatner. Okay, I don't get that. Harrison went to college in Wisconsin.
I think if we're betting on next celebrity.
Shatner,
yeah. I
Shatner.
think Dead and Pool should have been there's space in between there.
His roulette money on.
Although
Shatner.
I kind of want to see,
but now that he said that,
Shatner thing. Now
I would like to see a Deadpool Shatner.
Yeah.
Come on, next Deadpool movie, make it happen.
Carl, likewise. And let me just put it out there. So next week, I decided what I'll do. It'd be like a career retrospective. For those of you who saw the one that I did a couple years back on the last 20 years of Mike Perkins' work, you'll remember it wasn't a standard 20-piece type show and tell. It was a couple of friends of mine guesting with me, and we showed, like, again, it's 20 years worth, right? So we showed something between 80 and 90 slides. So a lot of art. So that's what it's going to be for Butch. So just so you guys know, I will likely not be able to interact with you guys in the chat. And I also wouldn't mind having somebody. I can do it alone, since I guess I'll just be talking about art and going through it. It would still be nice to have at least one person. If anybody's a Butch Guice fan who would love to hang with me and make comments about art from throughout his career, I would be happy to have you. So just putting it out there. For next Sunday. Okay. Let me see. 63. So very young. Okay, so let us get into this, fellas. Let me see what would be the best way to show the first piece. I think I'm going to go with this. Yeah, this one. Let's see what happens here. So this is a nice piece. Again, talking about Butch. Figured start off with this, and probably my favorite villain, I guess, in the Star Wars universe. I just thought it was a pretty kick-ass piece. And I love Stormtroopers as well. I've always loved the visual of their costumes, so they're up there too. I gotta, but it's hard to have them at the top just because they're not all powerful. They're kind of like, they do the master's bidding kind of thing,
And you can go through a dozen of them relatively quickly.
Yeah. That's the problem. It's kind of like, it's not like there's just one of them. There's like infinite number supply or whatever.
Was this a variant cover or
no, just a fairly recent commission that he had done. Yeah, and it was interesting because Butch didn't like doing conventions, so he didn't go to conventions. It'd been a long. So he had, as a special guest, he agreed to go to San Diego in 2015. And that was, I believe, just for celebrating some anniversary, whatever the number of anniversary of, I guess, Death of Superman or something like that, But other than that, I can't remember the last time he had been to a convention as a guest. Maybe in the cross-gen days, early 2000s, something like that, perhaps. And also, he also wasn't really into doing commissions all that much over the years. But then I think in 2022, he began, he said, let me open a list. And he started 2022 or 2023. And then he did quite a few in that time frame, and a lot. Oh my God, beautiful ones. Quite a few of them are posted on CAF. So anybody want to check, just do a search for Butch Guice, I guess. Some beautiful stuff there. So Baron Karza.
I remember Butch from his run on Micronauts. Like Tom. I'm trying to think, did he have any published Star Wars work?
Butch?
I'm not aware.
I can't recall off the top of my head any. That's why I asked, was it a variant cover or a commission? Because those are the only two options.
Because they've done so many variants the last 5-8 years with the new Marvel titles. You never know.
Between the store and convention variants and then the regular variants that Marvel puts out, like
it's hard to keep track.
It's possible any artist has done
with a checklist.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track.
Mm.
Yeah, but I always love seeing how artists like choose to to do the saber, especially in black and white illustrations? Right. Like, do they carve out negative space? Do they use white paint? Do they, how do they do it? It's interesting to see the different approaches to it. Or do they color that only or whatever, like I've seen that approach too.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, it's always cool to see how they do like anything that involves like a special effect you might need, like a glowing saber or whatever, even things like you see there, with the wispy smoke and stuff. I love to see how they handle that kind of stuff. Like, because again, like you said, Kavi, sometimes they just leave white space. When it's that much white space, it's typically just leaving the negative space, right? Yeah. Right. Because you don't want to slap down that a ton of like white paint or whatever, right? But every now and then, if it's not quite that much, it'll be white paint all over the place.
So Ian's saying that they did a Princess Leia #1
variant cover for Marvel. Okay, but that's got to be pretty recent though.
Probably, yeah. I think that book came out in the last 6 years? 5 years.
Something like that. Man, I really like the way you did that. Lighting, the way it's reflecting off the leather pants. Yeah,
absolutely.
Very cool.
And even the way people do Vader's suits, like the mechanical elements, it's always interesting to see how they carve that out.
Yeah.
Or paint over blacks, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Was just looking that up too. Who's J? Oh, Jewish Dragons. Okay, found the Okay, so that's from the 2015 when they got the license, right? Because I think that's when they took over again.
Yeah. Okay, so that, man, it's been freaking 10 years already. Then
that's crazy.
That makes me feel.
Yeah, they were Lee. His commissions were outstanding stuff. Yeah. Okay, so let me take a look at the next one. Thank you, Butch. I will be showing a lot more of your work next week. So from there, we have, I think we'll do this layout. And you guys have seen this because I used it for tonight's show. And that's this. I just thought that was really, really cool. I will say that I'm assuming it's completely digitally created because that's the look that it has. And I'm not too fond of especially on the right side characters, starting with especially Luke, Solo, yes, kind of all of them, other than Chewbacca. They have more of almost like a plastic kind of look to them, as if they're figurines, action
Well, the
figures.
style has blended the animated look of the characters, particularly Mace Windu and Darth Maul.
Okay.
And Asajj Ventress off to the left there. And that's the animated style Yoda. So it's a blend of both the movie actors and their animated appearance.
Yeah, okay. I would agree sort of with that.
And correct
me if I'm wrong. Is this a video game thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I wish I could give credit where it's due because I always, of course, I think it's important to do that. But I tried hard and I could not find the name of whoever painted the cover for it. But yeah, it was gosh, what did they call it? So it's called Respawn. Okay, like Todd McFarlane's Spawn with the letter R.
Okay, so they've done 2 games. They've done Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and they've done Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So they've done 2 like somewhat recent games, and I think they have another one coming out.
So you're familiar with them then? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who the artist is, but I know the games.
No, not Galaxy of Heroes. Let me, you know what?
It could be because there's like a plethora of characters on screen. I don't know.
I don't remember the name, but what they called it was it was Respawn Entertainment, and they called it an RTS game. What's an RTS?
Okay. There's a new game that they announced at Star Wars Celebration that's coming out. It's not out yet. It's coming out later this year or early next year. That's what this is for. I forget the name of the game though. Do you remember, Jeff?
I do not remember.
Yeah, plethora, right?
Plethora.
Yes, a plethora.
Yeah. I love that word. Come on, don't hate.
Hedges.
That's a great movie. But what do they mean by RTS? What does that stand for?
Real-time strategy game.
Oh, okay. Okay, but that's still a video game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. These guys are
Let's
going.
See, I'm looking it up from what the game.
Oh, thank you, Carl. Carl had already typed it in. Thanks, man.
Zero Company. The name of the game though is called Star Wars Zero Company.
Okay, so what's Respawn mean then?
Respawn's the developer of the game of this new game. It's not out yet. So, but yeah, that's where I also have seen this image before, because it was a marketing image when they announced the game at Star Wars Celebration in Japan a couple weeks back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. From there we go to.
So that image is literally less than a month old, because they just announced that game and
I got it from an announcement that they made back in January.
Yeah, because they did make an announcement for the game back in January, but then they released a trailer at Star Wars Celebration. So maybe you're right. Okay, so it's a couple months old. That was the only marketing asset that was out before they released a trailer recently.
Right.
Yeah, but the game's not out. And I usually don't play real-time strategy games, so I'm not sure if I'll ever experience it or not. But
you're busy with the regular video games,
Yeah.
You can explain it to yourselves amongst yourselves in the chat there, Mike. But yeah, it
just means a bunch of them, basically.
Yeah, he's just screwing around anyways. Yes, indeed, Lee, it is a Lee Bermejo cover, and actually, so this one is here. I can tell you. Got to open up the folder. So this one is Star Wars Tales number 21 from 2004. And it's owned by someone with the initials HP. That's what they go by online on CAF. And same thing for the next one. Also, the next one is going to be Star Wars.
They own a lot of great Star Wars art, HP, from what I can remember.
Yeah. They seem to be a big Star Wars fan. I've always been a big Lee Bermejo fan since that's probably when I discovered him around 03 or 04. That's when
this feels like an homage to like a political poster of some kind that I've seen.
Yeah, these
before.
Propaganda poster styles.
Propaganda posters,
more appealing than just random heads floating in space.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You got that nice, shot of Vader's tie advanced right there in the front. So.
Yeah, I just love the TIE fighters and in front of him. And by the way, the ship in the front, that's the one that he flies, right? When he's right. And that one itself, because it's slightly, it's got the more curved wing things. Does that mean it has a different name? Is it not a TIE fighter?
It's a variant of a TIE.
It's a variant, yeah. Isn't that the advanced? I think it's called the advanced TIE.
Yeah. So that was in the big lore, and I don't know if it's even where the status is in canon anymore, since I don't even pay attention to canon. But in the lore, it was an advanced experimental design that he was using and had been tweaking the modifications on. So it was not a standard production TIE. It was one that he had a hand in specifically designing.
But if I see that on a cover, because I love that shit, right? And every time I see it on the cover, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a cool TIE fighter. That's Vader's TIE fighter. Like, am I right, or am I supposed to be saying something else?
No, it's a one of one.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's still called a TIE fighter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a TIE fighter, and there's like most of the aircraft that we've got. In the U.S., there's different versions, and you might get an A variant or a B variant or a C variant. It's the same thing with the TIE fighters, because TIE is just an abbreviation for twin ion engine. And so it's really reflecting the class of fighter. And so there's a TIE Advanced and TIE Interceptors and TIE Bombers,
TIE Defender, TIE Avenger,
TIE Defenders and Avenger. Now with Andor stuff.
Carl's telling us that this one is apparently called X1.
It may have a designation.
It may be designated, but I think it, like, most people refer to it as the advanced tie or the advanced fighter or advanced Vader's tie specifically. It's the advanced. Yeah.
But the Sinar, which would be the Star Wars universe military industrial contractor that builds them, that might be the official designation. Like our F-16, which we call the Fighting Falcon, or the Viper, depending on which version.
Well,
it'd be that same kind of thing.
He's being even more specific now, saying that it's the advanced X1 TIE fighter. All right. Looks like we got a bigger Star Wars nerd in the house than you guys even. Whoa, look at that. I don't know. Carl, you're challenging the big guns now, man. Very cool. All right.
Or maybe just a guy who's not on a live stream right now who has access to Google.
Very true. That's always possible these days. I always suspected Marcus of being that. You know, he knows way too much than he should, right? So I'm like, yeah, he probably had enough time to like Google it quickly, you know. We always give him credit for having such a good memory.
I'm just messing around. I could care less about remembering the designation numbers. I just remember advanced tie, and that's all I need to remember in my head.
Because he played more of the Decipher card game, apparently.
I never played those games, the role-playing games. Those.
Let's just cut to the chase of it. In terms of the Kenner toys, it's the gray one and not the white one. Or the Return of the Jedi blue one.
Hey, before you move on from that, when did you say that last piece came out?
2004.
Okay.
So 21 years ago already. My God.
So Dark Horse stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. I love it. I love that upshot too. It's cool. No, it's got the simple but classic triangle composition, right? And then the symbol right behind.
I did see my boy Maul on that next piece though, real quick.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. You know, those my two favorite villains. You know, I often have said that this guy is my favorite one. He's like even cooler. He looks cooler. But then my childhood love for Darth Vader, it tends to kind of win out. So I don't know, but I think this guy looks the coolest. Vader. See, the thing is that Vader can't, like, he doesn't fight, right? He's just kind of like, he does the pointing thing and then he chokes you, pretending he's choking you, and he kills you that way. But I like guys who can actually be mobile.
Vader's whole costume or suit is to keep him alive, right? Because of the
right.
Whereas this is just the race of Maul's people from his planet and how they look, you know, and he's just wearing a cloak on top of that.
Wait, sorry. How the planet he's from, people always look like that?
Yeah, this is like the look of the race of the type of species that Maul is.
Oh, really?
It's not like he's not wearing a helmet that makes him look like that. It's this is his race, his alien race, his species.
So his head is like that, but does he paint it? Does he add paint, or we're supposed to believe his skin is like that color?
It is that color. Yeah, it is like that. That is his skin. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. And do you know what those things are in the head? Do they have any usage, or
they're horns?
I just refer to them as horns. Everybody else on his, of his species has the horns as well.
Okay. Yeah, they look cool. I mean, like that's what I like about it, but that's the thing, is like I always wonder, I wonder if maybe they do something or whatever, it helps them with something, but it just sometimes it's just a cool thing, I guess, when they design the characters, right? I want to see a white Maul. Yeah. Why do some have yellow?
Wait, Rick, did you say the artist on this? I feel like I've seen
sorry. So this is Hugh Fleming.
Yeah, Fleming.
Okay. Yeah, this is Hugh Fleming. And in case anybody's wondering, it's from Star Wars: The Phantom Menace #4. And it's from 1999.
Adaptation comic.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 1999. So 5 years before the previous one with Vader on it. So, Yeah, only his hairdresser knows for sure. Exactly. Delight loves movies. Oh, we got a newbie in the house. What's going on? George Lucas Star Wars are the best.
Delight.
Well, Delight, do you guys know who Delight is? Is she one of your friends? No?
Nope.
Well, Delight, I hope you hang around. And
that or a YouTube handle I don't recognize.
Yeah. We'll be seeing a lot of original Star Wars tonight. So hang around if you can. Aerodynamics, well, hardly, Ian. Those are rabbit ears, right? I can hear John Williams in the background. Sweet. Yeah, no, that's a beautiful painting. I love it. And yeah, and again, that's also by in HP's gallery. Okay, and the next one is this one. So this is so cool. I look forward to seeing what you guys think about this. Let me change. Here we go. Let me get rid of this one, and we're gonna check out this. So guess who, everyone? And it's a commission. It's a commission from, I believe, 20 years ago. Can you guys tell? I'll give a hint and say one word. Wonky. And that's a word that's often been associated with this artist's anatomy.
Well, I see a Gene Colan signature, so that's kind of cheating, but I don't know if it's just him or if it's like him and somebody else.
Nah, it is indeed Gene Colan.
Okay.
Yeah. So crazy, not an artist that I would ever think to see doing Star Wars, right? But as far as I know, he never did do Star Wars, and this is, like I said, this is a commission. So from back when he was, like a lot of the Silver Age guys, making a living on commissions, right? About 20 years back, 20 to 25 years ago. So yeah, I just thought it was cool. I really love, especially my favorite part is, I love how he used the pencil to create the speed effect of the TIE fighter flying towards us in the bottom right-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I just it really feels fast, like it's really, I can feel the movement. To be fair, there is one thing I really dislike. I think he had a lot of trouble doing Leia. Leia, don't like how she looks at all. But other than that, and Luke is a little off kilter as well. I don't know why he's all the way off to the left there, but Chewie, Vader, Solo.
Luke looks a little Doogie Howser like to me.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So
I cannot remember which.
Gene.
Hey,
Dino.
Hey, Dino.
Art for one of the top sets, but this almost looks like it could be a prelim for a wraparound cover.
Well, if I didn't spot the Colan signature, I don't think I could have detected that it was Colan. It's
right.
Not what I think.
Oh, so when I said wonky, it's because
like CJ saying.
It's the one thing that really is wonky. There's Leia and Luke are both a little off, obviously, but not in a wonky manner. But the Han Solo, he's got that weird wonky pose. The legs are just a little weird, and that's what I noticed right away. That's what gave it away to me. I was like, oh my God, is that Gene Colan? And only after I looked at it, I was like, oh, there's his signature. Yeah, it's So yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's interesting that there's so much white space in the left, and then you've got these kind of quadrants, right, of scenes kind of from the movies. But it's a cool collage style piece.
Or if this was one
montage.
Of those
montage. Yeah.
Montage, or if it was one of those 6-card puzzles that would have had a logo in the lower left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just thought it was interesting because, like I said, it's not an artist you ever think about doing Star Wars.
Do you remember who had this one? Or
oh yeah, sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, so here, give me a second because I think I don't want to guess and then say it wrong. Let me pull it up here. Okay, that's what I figured. So this is from John Higashi's collection, and John Higashi, big time, long time Star Wars nut, and has spent decades building an incredible collection of Star Wars commissioned art. So
I always looked forward to flipping through his portfolio in San Diego to see what he'd gotten in any given year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to see him there all the time.
Well, I used to exhibit with a group of the Lucasfilm artists. So, he'd usually get a piece or two, every year, every other year, or he'd be just down the aisle from us with Dave Dorman or one of the other guys. And yeah, he always had a bag in each hand with portfolios and sketchbooks, going around getting pieces done. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. So all right, let us go on to the next piece here. And this other one is also from John Higashi's collection. And this one, I just thought it was so cool. Check this one out.
Oh, damn.
Right?
Dude, Brunner does some amazing pencil commission pieces, I have to say. Like, it's just pure pencil commissions. This is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kavi wants it purely for the Salacious Crumb.
Well, that would be my number one reason. Yes. Not most people's number one reason, but mine.
Are you truly like a massive fan of a Salacious Crumb?
I think he's hilarious. He's the funniest character in Star Wars. So yeah.
Okay.
And it's a fun commission request to see what people will do with that character. I mean, it's a little space monkey. I mean,
I love the look of that character. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And is that 2004, Ruben, on the date, or is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
2004.
That's correct. Yeah, 21 years ago. Yeah, phenomenal. Just all the soft pencil strokes, right? Like, they're so beautiful. The way he did the lighting is just fantastic. Really, really love that. And I forget sorry, what's that guy's name? You don't even notice him in the top left corner until you've already stared for a while. Sometimes.
Fortuna.
Bib Fortuna, yeah.
Jabba's Major Domo.
B-I-B.
B-I-B. Yeah.
Or and then like tuna fish.
Yeah. Bib Fortuna. Yeah. Yeah, The Light Loves Movies is sticking around for now. That's good. Good. I love it. Thank you. And yes, Ofar indeed, Lee. That's right. He escaped from. He does look like a Fraggle Rock character.
Yeah.
Well said, Brick. Exactly. I drew him in someone's sketchbook at SDCC last year.
Oh,
you
nice.
drew it? Nice.
Which one? Fortuna or Salacious?
I suspect that Ian drew Salacious.
Salacious.
Yeah. I vaguely remember that.
Probably. Oh boy, Leslie, babe. That actress.
Pizza the Hut. Yeah.
Pizza the Hut looks great too. That's good. Before Bib put on the weight, he put on weight. Oh, I don't remember him.
Yeah, when he shows up in.
He shows up in a TV show that takes place later in the timeline.
Later in the future, and then he's a big and he's a big guy.
A little hefty.
Well, he filled in Jabba's role and took on.
Yeah.
Some of his proportions as well.
Okay, but is that because it's just simply because they hired an actor who happens to be larger?
No, I think they intentionally made it up to look like
it was a story decision.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He'd been living the high life off of Jabba's fortune and empire.
Okay, that's funny. But that's a very, very cool one. Thank you, John Higashi. Now this next one, wow, this one's cool, man. This next one, and I think probably even you hardcore guys are unfamiliar with it. And what's really cool about this is the artist who did this. Check this one out. I think I'll go with this layout. Check this out, guys.
Yeah. Moebius.
You familiar with that one, Kavi? Yeah?
I think I've seen it online. Like,
okay.
I've seen a few of these before, but I've definitely seen this online somewhere.
Yeah.
The idea of having a Moebius Star Wars piece is like so mind-blowing that I can't even imagine it. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Holy shit. Jean Gireaud, for those of you who know him that way, who goes by the pen name Moebius.
Gireaud, yeah.
Man, like
so
a
cool.
Star Wars piece by him. I don't know much about, actually, in my research for doing this, it seems not only do I know not much about it, nobody seems to know much about it. It's just guessed that it might have been a cover to an album, like a hardcover album of Star Wars album, perhaps. Now, with the experience that I have,
reprints for Europe or something like that, or
some kind of European Star Wars book of some sort, because to me it looks kind of like I could see it as the cover of, it's like the Star Wars storybook that you have that I grew up with. That's how I first watched the movie, is by that storybook that you showed, that you posted, Kavi, and so it looks like something that could be like that. But again, I'm shocked. I would be surprised if it was actually used as anything sort of published, given that I think in this day and age, Moebius, Star Wars, if it was used on something published, like any kind of ephemera, like a book, paper product of some kind, come on, this, a copy of that thing would have been photographed, scanned, and posted online.
And it would be a popular collectible. It would be a popular collectible.
Exactly.
So did you pull this off CAF or just through an internet search somewhere?
I don't. On this one, I think it's just on the Googling on the internet somewhere. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, I think, like, okay, it's possible. I would think, because of what I just said, I think it's possible maybe it was something more like, okay, because again, what I read was, another rumor. George Lucas asked him to kind of do this for whatever, but again, it's not proven, right? So I think maybe
George had a way of doing that.
It wouldn't be a surprise though, because he
exactly
collects the guy's work,
exactly, and he's been a comic book fan, for since back then, so it could be that he just said, hey, Jean, could you do me a little Star Wars thing, or and that they just never used it for anything, right? Like, so who knows? But
we'll see if that turns up in the Lucas Art Museum next year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can't wait to go.
Right.
Yeah, there were a whole lot of artists that he was a fan of.
Is there an actual opening date for that? Like,
is it still 2026?
Yeah, I've seen year. I don't know that I've seen a firm.
Man, how awesome would it be if it was in May, dude?
Right.
Yeah.
But I know that there were a number of artists that he just said, hey, do me a piece, just because he wanted to get Star Wars art done by that artist. And he was like, we'll figure out where we'll use it later. And sometimes he did, and sometimes he didn't.
Yeah, I see what you mean. The light, it's the little noodling, feathering there on the legs, Yeah.
Because if this had been used, with those laser beams, if this had been used for Star Wars and Other Galactic Funk for the cover art for that album, that would have been perfect.
If it would have been used for anything, it would have been perfect. But hey.
But the Disco Star Wars album, I mean, it would
have perfect.
It's just cool that it exists. Period.
Yeah. Just the fact that Moebius did something, not only something, but it's not even like, you could have believed maybe somebody somewhere convinced them to do a Star Wars related sketch at some point, pencil or whatever, quickly, but a fully finished piece like this, full color, the whole works, like, so it's that makes me feel like it's a concept piece, right? Because it's fully finished. So it does make it feel more like it was something that Lucas would have asked him, hey, I got this thing, whatever, can you maybe, I guess.
I mean, he commissioned custom posters for different markets overseas, like specific poster art by a specific artist of that country locally and stuff for the first film. So it could be even like an alternate markets poster that never got used or something,
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Next on the docket is one of his Star Wars strips, which you'll see in a second. There's one very specific reason. I love this, and I guess you guys will probably love it. Check this one out. Let me go here and show you this. So as you can see there, on the far right, the signature is of Dave Stevens of Rocketeer fame. If you didn't already, notice Leia's face,
it's gorgeous.
It's gore. It's just it's to me. It's as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, the most beautiful Leia face I've ever seen. Yeah, it's just beautiful. It's got the classic Dave Stevens signature along with it. And to me, it's just a bonus that it's got 3PO and Leia in the first panel, Leia in the middle panel. But I do love the fact that I love hair. I like when guys do women's hair in like braids, complicated hairdos, right? Because it's so detail oriented. Love that stuff. So that's cool too. Guys, help me out here. What's the name of those people trying to do the kidnapping? Do you know? Do you recognize?
I have no recollection. I remember the basic story arc, but I don't remember what planet they were on.
Oh, okay, interesting. You think
I have not read too many of the strips. Like that's one of my big holes. Like I need to go back and read a lot of them. So you think it's something where, like in the strips, they also created new characters just for the strip, and they didn't bother to use them later for the comics?
Yep. Yeah, there were storylines that just ran distinctly in the strips. Some of the first strips actually adapted the Han Solo novels, the Brian Daley Han Solo novels.
All right.
Which had come out in 78, 79, 80.
Yeah, this is what, 80s, early 80s?
This one would have been 80 because they've already used the
Empire Strikes Back.
Hoth hairdo. So they'd had those early photos available.
Yeah, CJ and Mike let us know that they're called Snogars.
Snogar. There you go.
Snogar the Horrible, says Mike. What's ESB? Oh, Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, it is. It is. Same year. Yeah.
Yeah. Is the date there?
Oh, yeah. I missed the date. It's right there.
Bottom right of the first panel.
Oh, yeah. 1980. There you go. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah. So very cool. And here, just as a quick close up, show you this with the face. Yeah. It's beautiful Dave Stevens work. So love that. And credit where it's due to the collector. This is Albert Moy's collection. So there you go. Not shocking at all. I'm assuming. And it says in the strip. Oh, does it? Okay. Well, wasn't reading it. Too busy looking, CJ. And I did want to go back real quick, just to this, to make it. I guess that's at least semi-official because
Dino found some information.
Dino, let me go and get Dino's comment here. He says that it's quoted as published by Biblioclep. Dino, thank you. Now that I think about it, I do remember seeing that. It's just that because it didn't give any information as to what was it published as, I figured, no point for me to say.
Yeah, and maybe they published in some after the fact, like not for its original intention, possibly. Right. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, and so the last non-slide piece of art here that I got for everybody is this one. And I believe, I don't want to get her name right. It's a Russian name. I know it's Yelena. The first name, Yelena. I think it's Moroshkova, but give me I don't want to screw this up. Let me try to look this up.
I don't remember a White Widow crossover.
Yeah, I was going to say more Sentry tie-ins.
Okay. Yelena Morozenko. And here it is. Let me show you guys this one. It's for the from 2002, the 25th Star Wars anniversary. Check that out. Yeah, I love realism, right? So
that's really cool.
Yeah, when you're using actors and if you're going to show the actor versions, for me, I want you to be able to get the likenesses right, So people who have the ability to capture the likenesses really, really well, man. Yeah, it's
Was
an
this
art
used like at a convention or?
I don't know. I just found it, and all it said was that it was commissioned as to do some kind of a celebration for the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, this feels familiar. It may have been in the
feels like
art show at Celebration 2 in Indianapolis, which would have been that year.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, great likenesses indeed, for sure, Lee. Yes, sir.
Is it all pencils?
Nice. It's what it looked like. Yeah, unfortunately, the scan is really small, so you're really getting it. No, online also. Yeah, online somewhere randomly online. Yeah, and like I said, the original scan that I have on the computer, it's just about this size. So sadly, I couldn't blow it up, unfortunately, but it looks amazing. I can imagine how cool it is to see the pencils, up close, right, with a larger image. So it's fantastic. Oh my gosh, it's got all the whole main cast, of course, and the main heroes, the main villain, the planet, right, all the ships. Yeah, so fantastic.
And the real hero of the saga at the forefront, R2.
That's right.
R2. No Tarkin. Oh, I'm sorry, Grand Moff Tarkin. Get the hell out of here with that shit. What are you talking about?
He's there. He's in that window, just to the left of the gun.
He's on the Death Star being blown up, basically.
Exactly.
What's going on.
That's it. That's awesome. San Julian has done a few of this style. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, Rick. He's done a lot of that. He does a lot of that montage style stuff. Yeah, exactly. I'll go. You'll go? No. You can stay. It's all right.
We're just messing with you.
That's okay. You love Grand Moff Tarkin. If he's your favorite, no worries.
He's a great character.
Everybody's allowed to have their favorites. That's Peter. Who?
Mayhew.
No.
Cushing.
Cushing, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, Cushing. Peter Cushing. That's right. Yeah.
Exactly. He's the one that they deep faked or something, right?
That's right. Yes.
Rogue One, I think. Yeah.
They had practical effects. And they had an actor with prosthetic applications and stuff to do the cheekbones and all. But then they also did the I don't know if they rotoscope it and then do the CGI overlay or however that process works, but there was a digital Tarkin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they've given that character more stuff, like between Rogue One, the Rebels. Like they did a book and everything on him. He shows up in comics. So.
But is he in like what's the most recent live action that he's been in?
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't turned up in Andor.
They haven't. They did that one CGI deep fake, and they haven't gone back to that for live action.
Yeah, he was at the tail end of Revenge of the Sith, that bridge scene, which was an actor made up to look like Cushing, and he doesn't have any dialogue. He just stands there and then walks off. There. Yeah. But then they did the combo CGI actor for Rogue One.
Yeah, Peter Cushing, absolutely. The light had a very, very long career, particularly in England. And I believe he came from the stage. If I might be mistaken, but I don't think so. I believe he came from the stage. He was a stage actor as a young man, and then he got into movies.
Yeah. All those horror films for Hammer Studios.
They did, yeah, that's right. He did all the Hammer horror, as Peter says. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah, and he passed away in the early. Has it been that long? The early 90s, Lee? Wow.
Yeah,
I don't remember it being that long ago. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow. Tarkin is very quick.
I feel like we got to go search for a Tarkin piece now with how much.
A lot of Tarkin love in the house now. All because of Goo, making us feel guilty.
I love it.
Hammer horror, baby. Oh, come on, Carl. All you guys calling out for the Hammer horror, baby, you're doing it because of all the naked titties that you saw flying around everywhere. That's what you really loved about the Hammer horror stuff, right? Let's just be, honest with each other, right? I'm sure you love the horror too, but horror with nakedness, that's even better. But yeah, so excellent. So these are the hors d'oeuvres that come before the meal that we've just tasted. So very, very fun to see some eclectic pieces. And let me...
It tickled the Star Wars art taste buds. Good job.
Yes, sir. I think that's well said there, Kavi. And let's bring us back here, I guess, like this. Or do we like this better? Yeah, we're closer to the fan.
Either or.
Doesn't matter.
We're about to not be seen with the full screen sides anyway. So
I don't do to watch what I say. Look at these guys. Flying titties. What? No, that's what we had Total Recall for. I only saw it once. I can't remember anything. Oh, the one with the 3, right? Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. That was not
the trilogy of a different kind.
Yeah. What do you mean Hammer got horrible in the 70s though? I mean, that's basically when they made their bones. That's what they're known for. The 1970s. All those 1970s Hammer films. That's what they're so famous for. When were they great then, Lee, if not the 70s? I don't get it. Indeed, Rick. Nice one. You're continuing the puns. I love them. Titillating films, absolutely. No, there's no quiz master with the Star Wars trivia. We are our own Star Wars trivia people. I ask all the questions because I don't know jack squat, and you guys answer for me,
And Girl, if not, we make it up.
What's that, Jeff?
And if not, we make it up.
And then you make it up, exactly. Yeah. If it's one thing I like, it's a pear. Nice, Mike. Made or gave the bones. Oh, boy. 60s and 70s. Yeah, I know that's when they were around, but yeah, I don't know. Listen, if more than one of you happens to know that it's factually considered that Hammer was considered crap in the 70s, I'll take your word for it, but I don't know. Did they really fall off in the 70s? I don't know.
There were a few by the time you got to sort of the 3rd, 4th, 5th movie.
Yeah.
And the sequence.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like films do. They had gone from sort of what we would say a classic horror film to maybe something along the lines of a Roger Corman level of horror film. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right.
Because they were low budget. They weren't always well scripted. Sometimes the effects were limited, but they're still fun to watch.
Yeah. Look at Peter. Christopher Lee was also in Star Wars films, but don't ask me which ones.
I answered
Attack of the Clones and Revenge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was Count Dooku in the prequels.
Yep.
They revisited that trifecta in the Total Recall remake. Oh, I guess if you're remaking it, why would you leave that out, right? Hopefully, it looked more realistic, anyways. Even though it's still not very attractive. That's when they were at their best. Those early Dracula and Frankenstein films. Yeah, it's funny that like you said, they started in '59 for the first Hammer film. Wow. So not even 60s, like before the 60s. That's crazy. I don't remember starting that early on. Count Dooku. Oh, he was Count Dooku. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Hammer films always had the most beautiful set dressings. Is that right? I mean, if you remember, if you're talking about the swinging headlights, I'll say that. I mean, weren't they always considered pretty low budget though?
Like but it was England, so Victorian era stuff was all over the place. So you could dress up a good spooky mansion or something fairly easy.
Yeah, okay. Derek says that The Legend of the 7 Golden Vampires is the greatest thing ever. I'm sure that's the one with the 7 female naked vampires, if I'm not mistaken. And that's why it would be the greatest thing ever to you, Derek. Says Believer gave them a thumbs up. Did they? Okay, the Tarkin wear Jackson bunny slip. Oh, geez. You will be seeing Jackson tonight, by the way, Marcus. We'll be having a Jackson appearance.
Yes.
I look at those kinds of things in films. You do. No, listen, the set is important, you want the sets to look good for sure, Delight. I'm just messing with you. Shaw Brothers / Hammer crossover. I don't know. Who are the Shaw Brothers? What are you talking about? I don't know what that means.
Someday I'll tell you my national treasure story, Ruben.
National treasure?
Yeah, and how how one single aspect near the end of the film totally blew my suspension of disbelief as an archaeologist.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Yeah, Carl, I think you found out why I remember the 70s films more fondly. For sure. I mean, listen, when I was a little kid, I liked both of them, but I was more into of course, I was just as much into the horror of it all, Dracula, whatever, vampires, love that shit. But even as a little kid, I was into the ladies as well. So that, it was a double whammy. That was good stuff. But nowadays, I wouldn't sit there and watch a Hammer film. I mean, unless you told me that there was a really great one available that's worth, whatever. But anyways, so yeah. So let me here. Hold on. Let me get back to. I'm going to queue up the slides, everyone, and so yeah. So as I said earlier at the top of the show, we're going to run through a series of original Marvel era, the first Star Wars series from 1977 to 1986, I want to say. You guys remember-ish? 87, yep. 87, yep. I think. 107 was the last issue, I believe, right?
Yep. Well, they put out a 108.
And then they put out a 108 recently or something. Yeah. I don't count that, whatever. That's not part of it.
Yeah, neither do I. But
that is a modern issue.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's modern. So
yeah.
It's like, whatever. To me, it's like it's a 107 issue series. That's what I say, Yeah. So we're gonna check out the cover.
There's the other sort of offshoot books that kind of were released. The adaptations like the Return of the Jedi and all that.
Yeah. I will. Hong Kong film production. Sean, the flashy, centristic. Hammer. You guys still talking about Hammer? Okay. Candelabras. I made the tables and chairs. All right. Next time, I'll check.
Yeah, the Hammer celebration is in June. So
that's what we'll do next. Yeah. But okay, so
and then you can show some Gene Colan horror art. I think you've got a show set up for June now, Ruben.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. So
let's see this first one, man.
We got
I want to see it.
22 pieces here. I did cheat on a couple. The first and last. All right. Only because, well, whatever. And I'll say why, because I just love this first one. I love the artist. And it's not part of the regular series, but I'm like, I've always loved this one, even though there's no background. Check it out.
Oh, right as I say, Return of the Jedi.
Right. Because for whatever reason, they did that as a 4-issue limited standalone.
Own standalone.
Exactly. Official comics adaptation of the movie.
I mean, it's just so freaking cool, though, that Sienkiewicz did some of these covers.
Yeah. He did. I think he did all 4 covers.
Yeah.
Yep. And he did a couple covers in the regular series as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, as I said, I obviously would have preferred a background. I really hate when they just leave it blank like that. As you can tell, even when he handed this in, you can see by the published version that the editor was like, yeah, let's dress this up a bit. So they had to have made a stat. They statted it and then put an overlay. And on the overlay, had somebody in the office, add the stars and,
did Sienkiewicz share this scan or did it come from some other place?
Gosh, I think I probably got this from the auction house.
Oh, okay, it was in an auction. Okay.
In an auction, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whose collection it is. That's why it's this collection of unknown. So yeah. And Gene Colan was a Hammer fan. Love this spotting you off the rack. Nice. Love this mini. Hey, Evgeny, what's going on?
Hey, Evgeny.
I'll be with you too. Williamson Interiors. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's good stuff. That is so, yeah. amazing covers, and then even more amazing or equally amazing interiors. Handed it in or phoned it in. Nice, Mike.
Well, I believe when these were done,
have the color guides for these covers ever gotten out there, Jeff? Do you know? Or
I have no idea, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that this started before the movie released.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have prevented Bill from doing too much of a background just to not give away, any surprises from the film. But yeah, they really lost a lot of detail on Vader with the way they colored and then printed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just dark. It just, he's like night, it's like invisibility cloak or something. It's crazy, but all of them really just, darkened up way too much, but I mean, that's that. Look, even in this day and age, the coloring often kind of ruins the line art, right? So imagine back then it was much worse, right? Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And that's one reason why we like original art.
Right. No, but it's true. And it's so very true. Absolutely.
So often we look at it and go, it's so much better than the printed version.
Yes, exactly. We go from one of my favorite characters in Vader, and one of many people's favorite characters, to probably it's hard to. It's also hard to choose my most despised character. Even that has kind of like between two, Check this out.
Not a fan of the Ewoks?
And I know you guys love them. So I'm going to try to keep it,
This all leads back to the death of Joy.
Joy. That's awesome. But hey, listen, you guys, tell me what you think about it. I will say I can say one positive thing. I do like the idea of okay, the character, even though the character is lame, I love the, using a stormtrooper helmet and stepping on it, standing there triumphant or whatever. I like that whole aspect of it, but I can't say anything positive about these characters. So, but you guys tell me what you think about this.
Well, as I was reading them, I'll just say Tom Palmer was a stabilizing influence. And, we talk about inkers sometimes that have a heavy inking hand and will, not carry over the look of the penciler style or whatever. But for the bulk of the second half of the Marvel run, especially that period from Empire Strikes Back to Jedi, Tom Palmer was heavy-handed in the sense that he was a unifying force that both could capture reasonable likenesses of the actors and detail the spaceships so they looked accurate. And when Cynthia Martin jumped on board for sort of the end of the 90s in the series and then through most of the hundreds, it was an abrupt style change that at first took me off guard. And I was kind of like, oh, I hope this is just a fill-in issue. But after reading a couple issues, so this would have been my junior high years as this part of the series was hitting the newsstands and into high school. I was also watching Robotech for the first time, the Macross saga on TV, and I suddenly connected. She was doing a manga influenced style, and it totally changed my perspective. But I think a lot of Star Wars fans had a real disconnect with it for a long time and only embraced it later. But I was a big fan.
Just like with Jar Jar, really, it's like 20 years later, there's a huge sort of modern movement.
That's because all those kids have grown up and now have money.
Exactly. It's always like that.
Right.
I mean, I was like, 2 or 3, probably 3 years old the first time I saw Return of the Jedi and can comprehend having seen it. I may have seen it even earlier than that, but with my parents when I was, just a baby or whatever, and obviously have no comprehension of that. But I'm from a much younger, generation, I guess, to where, Ewoks were part of my childhood in a positive way, I guess.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it came out in 83. I probably saw it on video, I guess. I don't know. Back in those days, it probably took a year or something. So maybe 84, I probably on VHS or whatever. So I was 14. So I was like, yeah, I'm too old for this shit. Like, at that age, it's
makes total sense.
I can see, 6, 7, 8. Or,
and when I saw Phantom Menace, like I loved a lot of things about it, like Darth Maul especially, but I was a 15-year-old, I think at that point, 15, 16-year-old. So Jar Jar annoyed me at first, and I've grown to love it more in hindsight with my,
So you would have been how old at that time when Jar Jar first appeared, Kavi?
15 or 16.
Okay, and you liked him from the get-go?
I didn't know. He annoyed me at first.
At first, right? Okay, okay. Yeah.
Because I wasn't 7 years old. I was, I was like I'm too cool for Jar Jar, kind of. But I loved everything else about the movie. For me, like it was. I still loved that movie. It's just. I know a lot of people didn't like that movie, but the Jar Jar part of it wasn't enough for me to not like it, I guess. First time around.
Yeah, I gotta take umbrage with Delight Loves Movies because he or she, and sorry, Delight, I see it appears to be a woman's face, but that could be your girlfriend or wife or family member. Don't know if you're a he or she, but I gotta kind of push back on that because you're not the first person who has said that to me when I say, well, I hate the Ewoks. And I don't agree. I believe he introduced the Ewoks, right? He created those characters and introduced them into that third movie for the kids so that now you have something for the little kids and it expands your audience immensely. But I believe that the rest of it is not intended for kids. That's how I've always seen it. It's still intended for the, grown up, teenage and older audience, but with those Ewoks, just so that they could also get kids in. That's how I've always seen it. I don't know. What do you two guys think?
Well, I think she's literally quoting George, and many times he's said that over the years.
He said his target was 10 to 15.
Oh, really?
But that it would overlap beyond that. But
wouldn't you? But are you sure?
She did say that she is a girl, by the way, Ruben.
Okay. Thank you, Delight. I appreciate it. Thank you. I can say I know when to say he or she. Thank you.
But it was intentional to have elements for all ages because you'd want parents to take their kids.
You're right.
And so, but the sweet spot was that 10 to 15 years, which seems to carry over because the Star Wars that you embrace and the Star Wars that you remember is the Star Wars you see when you're in that 10
when
to
you're
15
in that age group. Yeah,
range.
Exactly.
And so that's why there's this era of people that are really into the prequels, that are into the vintage films. Another 10 years and it's going to be the folks that were young when they saw the sequels and really enjoyed those movies.
But I'm just saying, it's like when you guys were claiming that you're quoting Lucas having said that, are you positive if you went back to listen to him or whether it was written somewhere in an interview, are you positive that he was referring to the movie being for 10 to 15 and not the Ewoks as characters?
That's what he's talking about. All Star Wars in general, movies,
really?
the cartoons that have been made,
really.
That's his vision. Peter, I'm going to highlight Peter Rose saying Lucas said this most recently at this year's Turner Classic Movies. Empire Strikes Back had an anniversary screening or something like that, and he was interviewed. And
right. But you guys got to admit, I mean, shit. Not everybody has the problem I have.
I don't think he's making it exclusively for kids, but he's he has them in mind, or that was his. Right. That's his. That's the way he's always kind of positioned it publicly. Anyway.
Right. Because I don't to this day. Listen, you guys know I have a lot of trouble. This is why I'm not a science fiction guy. I have a lot of trouble with movies that have all the characters have unrecognizable weird names that aren't earthly names. Right. It's just like as soon as I hear some weird name, I get pissed and I don't want to make the effort to remember it. So then I keep watching the movie, and people are referring to each other, and I'm always like turning my head to whoever's with me. Who's that? Who's he talking about? Who's she talking about? Who are they talking about? You know, I'm completely lost all the time. So but I can't be the only one. And I know, Jeff, when I talked to you privately about this, you even said that it's kind of the reason your sister also was kind of the same way. I gotta say, like, if you're a 10 to 15-year-old, person, I don't know that the Star Wars saga is easy enough to really comprehend for 10 to 15-year-olds. I would think it's very confusing. It's a more elaborate.
Outside of paleontologists, if you want to be able to find out what kind of name is any given dinosaur, you ask a 7-year-old. And they'll rattle it off with a scientific Latin name. And you go, what is this? And they go, it's an ankylosaurus. And you're like, okay, great. Thank you. I mean, kids are more absorptive, and they kind of embrace that stuff.
Especially today when they have instant access to knowledge at their fingertips that they can just look up and memorize like right away. Like, it's great. Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to another one from the same era, also the same artist. I got a few of those coming up back to back. I want to see what you guys think of this, because I look at this and I'm like, oh my god, look at what's that? What's up with that character? Check it out.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's that? Like that? See, to me, when I saw that when it came out, I remember this as a 15-year-old when it came out. I was like, oh my god, like, what are they doing to Star Wars? They must be going just for the little kids. You know what I mean?
All hail the mighty Hiromi.
Is this the one that Nick used to own, Jeff? Or
until recently, this was
Nick Barucci used to own this.
Nick Barucci. I own the color guide for this one, actually. Yep. So this is post Return of the Jedi, and if you talk to Joe Duffy, if you talk to Cynthia Martin, if you talk to the folks that were putting these books together at the time, there was no concrete path forward after Return of the Jedi came out. There could be more movies, there could be whatever, and as much as Marvel had been hamstrung in storytelling between the original films, because Luke and Leia could never really become girlfriend boyfriend, Han and Leia couldn't fully become boyfriend girlfriend because he gets frozen, so we can't screw up that storyline and still have him running around. Afterwards, basically Lucasfilm got a hold of Marvel and said, you can't really talk about what really happens after the fall of the Empire. You can't kill and or marry off and or finalize any relationships with anybody, because we just might make 3 more films or whatever. And Marvel just did what they could to try to create these other alien species. And this particular species was intentionally for comedic relief. Because there were 2 other species involved in sort of this 3-part, attempt at some new galactic war that's not talking about the Empire, with these aliens coming from other galaxies. And that's why it suddenly just stops with issue 107, because they were still selling books. It wasn't sales, kind of like the toys dropped off. The comic sales were still relatively good, but they couldn't figure out how to continue a story when Lucasfilm wouldn't approve any storylines. And so they just
they were still having that trouble, that they kept kind of mixing ideas.
Yeah, because Lucas wasn't sure.
Yeah, because George was still in full control. He wasn't sure if he was gonna make movies or not. So it was like all these other things were kind of like.
And he had thoughts to maybe do a TV show and stuff. Yeah. And so basically, Marvel's creative team just went, "We're tired of trying to come up with a story, and then
let's
not
put
being
it out
able
of
to tell
misery."
it." So
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'd be curious to see how much it was selling towards the end there. But I will admit also, at that point, I mean, it's funny, right? When you think about it, it's only 2 years. Gosh, only 2 years in retrospect after the release of the third movie. You would think that just because of that, you would think that, oh, they'll figure out a way that you get the comic book rolling, you know? Like, it's only been 2 years since the latest movie, but like, yeah, I remember when they canceled the comic, I remember like, listen, you think it was selling well, that's fine, Jeff. I don't know. But I can say that nobody I knew, even the people that I knew who were like comics and Star Wars fans, nobody I knew bought Star Wars comics. And so that's why we always thought, oh God, we saw these covers with these characters nobody's ever heard of before, people who only saw the movies, right? And it was just kind of like, well, no wonder. Look at these covers. Look at the characters they're bringing in. Like, who are these weird looking, childlike looking things? So we just all assumed, yeah, no wonder. It's just dying on the vine kind of thing. And they finally put it out of its misery because it just wasn't selling. That's what everybody locally, certainly in the hobby, thought that's what the reason was. But I will say that it did. Star Wars as a franchise, it did kind of at that point. From 85 onward, it just kind of died. People stopped talking about Star Wars.
It's referred to as the dark times, basically.
Oh, really?
Well, when you think about it, you've got G.I. Joe with multiple points of articulation on the toy shelves that outsells it. Transformers come in. So in terms of, and Masters of the Universe, there's all these other properties that got hot that caught kids' attention. Right. That's where the money was. So then the toy line falls off, the comics fall off, and especially when you've got a controlling interest like Lucasfilm saying, you can have the license and you can tell a story, but you just can't run with it like you would want to. So
right. Interesting comment that Delight says. And, she sounds like a pretty big Star Wars fan, but never read a Star Wars comic. Interesting.
There's probably a lot of Star Wars fans that have never read a Star Wars comic. That is my assumption.
But it brings up the question. I'm Delight, if you don't mind telling us, are you a comic book reader, or did you only show up here tonight because you saw we were going to do something Star Wars related and you're a Star Wars fan strictly? Just let us know. I'm just curious to know a little bit more about you, about what's your connection. Do you have any connection to comic book artwork, which is what the focus of my channel is?
I think I've seen that handle in like the comic art or CAF Plus shows before, but I could be wrong.
Okay. The Millennium Falcon should have its own series. Adventure and Battle for Endor. Oh boy. She's an art fan. Look at it. CJ, you got to speak for her. Like, she can't speak for herself. Thank you, CJ. I appreciate it. I'm sure her comment will be coming in soon. But in the meantime, we'll go on to the next piece, and it's, I believe, I do believe it's another Cynthia Martin piece.
Wait, it's a Star Wars cover?
We are now moving on to the comic book adaptation of Hammer films. Okay, so let me see here. Give me a second. Yes. All right. So check this one out. I don't know who this is, so you guys will have to help fill me in. Any idea? Bueller?
I don't see it yet.
Oh.
You don't see it?
Are you on? You don't see it?
It didn't pop up on my end.
Do you see it?
But I see it on my iPad, which I'm running in case I want to hop in the chat. So that's weird. But okay, this is Wedge.
I was gonna say that's got to be either Wedge or another start.
Okay,
so pilot, right?
So you guys were seeing at least you copy. Okay, tell me.
I saw an X-wing pilot.
I see it
and a
now.
blaster.
Okay.
Okay.
That's Wedge Antilles being attacked by Wampas.
Oh, okay.
So in this issue, which was a fill-in issue, and Bob did it, I think, mainly just to get toys for his daughter, his niece, somebody in his family, because he said he needed reference material and had to mail him a bunch of toys.
Thank you, Delight.
So in the comic series, as they're trying to escape Hoth at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back, Wedge's ship gets damaged and he doesn't make it off the planet. Him and his backseater from his snow speeder. And so there's this story arc of him and the time he spends on Hoth until he manages to make his escape. And he sends off this message when he finally gets to a working radio. And Luke and Leia and some other rebel pilot go to try to find him. And that was sort of the setup for the issue. But yeah, that's Wedge Antilles. Rogue 2. Okay.
Yes, I remember Wedge Antilles as the pilot.
No, wait. Wedge was Rogue 4, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Luke's buddy. Yeah, it was Luke's best friend, I think. No?
It was one. He was one of the other pilots that survived the Death Star. So,
there was another good friend that got cut out of a scene, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So there was a friend of his from Tatooine, Biggs Darklighter, and all those early Tatooine scenes got axed from the final cut of the film. But he shows up and talks to him in the hangar right before they
Wedge is more like his fellow, rebellion pilot.
Yeah, when Luke makes it to the rebellion, he and Wedge are the two that survive the trench runs on the Death Star. Yeah. And then Wedge shows up in the rest of the original trilogy films. He was back in the last of the sequel films. Same actor, Dennis Lawson, who's the uncle of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor.
Of Ewan, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And was also a British actor.
Okay.
Lots of British actors in Star Wars on both sides of the
Imperials
fight.
And Rebels. But I do own a page from this issue. So
do you? Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So at the first OAX, I got to chat with Bob for about 10 minutes about it, which is when he told me. Sweet. He's like, I had no idea what was going on. I read the script. They sent me some reference stuff. I told them I needed more reference and to send me a bunch of the toys, and they did. And so he distributed.
It's funny. All right. I believe the last Cynthia Martin cover for tonight, I think.
But that was not Cynthia Martin.
Oh, wasn't it? What did I just... Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's Bob Layton. Right. But the previous two, the previous two were.
Yeah.
So one last one. With another character, of course, this is near the end of the series. So another character I've never seen before. Don't know who this is. But I like it. It looks kind of cool. She looks cool.
My favorite character of the original.
Is that Lumia?
It is.
Who?
So
Lumia?
if you want to...
Lumiya.
Oh, Lumia.
Yeah. Although if you listen to the audiobooks, they pronounce it Lumaya. But
really?
Most people pronounce it Lumia.
Oh, okay.
So I've always said it.
Yeah. Well, and it was the audiobooks that threw it off, and I can't remember. They may have had a British actor, voice talent reading the audiobooks. So this character was originally named Shira Bree. And she was a rebel pilot, sort of a creating a love triangle between Luke and Leia and Shira while Han's frozen in carbonite. So this is after The Empire Strikes Back, before the Return of the Jedi. And she was a rebel pilot. Luke and her go on a couple missions together. They get all flirty. Leia gets jealous. Then she can have these inward monologues about how much she's missing the frozen Han Solo. And then on a mission where they're undercover in some TIE fighters, they're flying without communication, so they can't be detected by the Imperials. And Luke has to destroy a TIE fighter that's coming after him. And it's the one that Shira Bree is in. Because he reaches out with the Force and he detects that the pilot's an enemy pilot. And we find out later that she was recovered from the wreckage of the TIE fighter, and Darth Vader has her in a Bacta tank. And then 20 issues later, she comes back, and she's been rebuilt much like a Lady Darth Vader as this other character. And so issue 88 is when she reappears in the armor and confronts Princess Leia, who, of course, doesn't recognize her as being that former rebel pilot who was really an Imperial spy. But then later she confronts Luke, and so her thing is she's got this instead of a lightsaber, she's got a whip that's infused with Force energy. So
she. I mean,
there's more info than you ever wanted to know. Yeah, she's one of my favorite characters from the original series. And when I finally got a Walt Simonson page, I waited for a page that had her on it. And when I paid an exorbitant price to get, my custom character choice of a Fred Hembeck card at one point, she was the character. So I've got the only Fred Hembeck.
Cool.
Lumia card.
I always like the design of that character. I even like. I usually don't, but I even like the coloring on that cover.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
I like that. It's a pretty nice cover.
Yeah.
Well, since those covers are pretty easy to color because she's got that anime style.
Right? Yeah.
And so it doesn't have all the detail in it that gets muddied
like
out.
all the little color, like intricate colors in the whip and everything. That
all the little accents.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I just based on that, what she looks like on that cover, I'd be like, man, I would love to see her in a live action movie. What are they waiting for? Like that would look so cool. Costume like that.
I'd be okay with it.
Plus, it's girl power, right? A kick-ass, confident female that doesn't need to be saved. I'm assuming that's kind of the kind of character she would be. So, no, that's good. And I do actually, in all sincerity, I appreciate you dropping that kind of information. That's what we're here for.
I think,
not that I'll remember any of it, but at least I do love hearing it when you in the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I suspect she would never turn up now, only because in the
good question
Star Wars Generation since they introduced the Mara Jade character, and I think the two of them would be similar enough. There's more recognition for Mara Jade, who was an Imperial, a hand of the Emperor. She did the Emperor's bidding undercover. That those two stories are close enough that they'd probably lean with Mara Jade because she'd just have more familiarity with the younger generations.
I'm with you, Goo. I'm with you. That wimp always needs saving. All right. I want to know if she's of Caucasian persuasion. I like all skin colors. Don't spread rumors about me, Marcus. Emperor's Hand. What's that about?
Yep, that was Mara Jade's title.
Mara Jade.
Yeah,
different character, but a love interest for Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
she eventually turns to the good side.
Yeah,
and Luke and Mara get married, and
yeah, there's so many characters that may or may not be brought back into canon.
Right.
It's hard to keep track of.
But good question though. Like, I mean, okay, I guess it's not as complicated now because is it Marvel? Marvel still has the license.
Yeah, Marvel under Disney
for the comics.
For comics, right. So I guess it's not that big of a deal since they have the license back. If they wanted to, they could bring back any character used in the original Marvel series, correct?
They've brought
Disney
back
can regardless.
They can. So, they own the material.
They
so
can,
they
and they have.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Because they did the issue 108, which brought back a ton of.
Oh, that's right. They did 108.
From that.
Yeah. You see, and even Peter agrees. Excellent explanation and gist of the story, Jeff. There we go. Jedi can get married. So what? Is that true? Can they not get married?
Not supposed to form attachments if you go with the old Jedi code.
Depends on the era of
how
strict the rules are, how many Jedi, who the leadership of the council is.
Or if you
go back thousands of years ago, apparently they were looser, like about relationships and attachments. But it's all about how deep you want to go into that discussion. It's pointless.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And Delight. I think you're wrong. Were you saying that you think Dark Horse has it now?
Dark Horse has a comic license to do the young adult series.
Yeah, but that's because of permission from Disney and Marvel.
Oh, really?
It's not. It's
because of Disney and Lucasfilm.
Yeah. They've assigned them to do the young adult comics.
So when left Dark Horse in 2015. It went
IDW was doing the young adult comics for a while, even though
afterwards IDW went to Lucasfilm and said, "Hey, we want to do a separate line of comics that are geared towards young adult," and they said, "Yeah, that'll be different enough. We'll give you a separate license." And IDW did it for a while, and then
the original Dark Horse, like the actual Dark Horse comics that they're known for Star Wars, ended in 2014.
Yeah.
They had that pocket of time.
Right.
Where they were the only Star Wars comics, basically.
Right. Which is why Marvel took over the year after or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Let us go to the next one. And here we go back in time to closer to the beginning and everyone's favorite character. Oh baby. Two awesome characters on this. Check it out.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Han and Jackson together.
Amazing.
Oh,
it's so in keeping with the George Lucas tradition of modeling the movies after samurai films and westerns.
Right.
They did the same thing when they did the first story after the adaptation of the original film. So Star Wars issues 1 through 6 are adapting the first movie. And then after that, you basically get a Star Wars retelling of Seven Samurai. Or Seven Samurai or Magnificent Seven, depending on whether you want the original samurai version or the Western version. And so Han and Chewie have to put together a group of space gunslingers to save a village from a group of space motorcycle flying desperados, including a 6-foot-tall rabbit.
Oh my Lord. And by the way,
there's Jackson for you, Ruben, right there in the bottom right.
Oh, I know. I know. And in fact, the color of this copy of the comic that I found was very, very light. I purposely drove up the green color so you could all see Jackson better. So,
and for whatever reason, he's not wearing clothes on this cover.
Yeah, why is he looking naked? That's
yeah.
Weird.
I have no answer for that.
Is this the auction house scan?
Gosh, I don't remember. Maybe, yeah, I think so.
Okay,
probably.
Well, yeah, but that's for the artwork, right? Not
for the art. Yeah, for the art.
Yeah. So Delight says it's so hard to accept that Disney owns Jack Kirby Creations. So sad. But which ones are you talking about? You guys know what she's talking about?
I'm assuming she's talking about like Marvel Cinematic.
Yeah, Captain America.
Now
that Disney owns Marvel.
Oh, okay. Like PB&J, yeah. They copied Three Amigos. I don't know. Is this a joke, Goo? Did it inspire Bucky O'Hare? I mean, he didn't come too far.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I don't know. One pill makes you larger. Nice. Get the music going. Oh, another new person. Andor. Full Mar music. Nice. Welcome. One pill makes you. Okay, now you're gonna both start singing back and forth. Caucasian.
That's a B2 emo droid line from the Andor show.
Oh, okay. Well, Full Mar music. You should know that the owner and host of this channel, which is me who's speaking, is not a hardcore Star Wars guy, so that's why I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that's why Jeff and I are here.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why these two fine gentlemen are here to fill me in when I need it, which is pretty much all the time. But yeah, that was terrifying. Let's go to hopefully something cooler with cooler characters. Let's see what we got next here. Oh yeah, I thought this was really, really neat. Yeah, you don't get to see the characters a lot, other than pretty kick-ass. I think I'm assuming that's Leia.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
And 3PO.
Yeah, like riding on the outside of the ship. That's pretty kick-ass. 3PO, and I guess is that Luke?
No, that's a Mandalorian named Fen Sasha.
Oh, okay.
And Dengar has been captured and is in the back seat.
Yeah.
this is one of those exceptions in the original Marvel arc where the story team got to delve into the Star Wars universe and introduce the Mandalorians, who we really only had seen in just Boba Fett and just the name Mandalorians mentioned. Leia winds up going to Mandalore and then working with a group of Mandalorians to try to free a chunk of folks that have been enslaved inside of this city that's been carved out of the carcass of the beast you see there on the cover. And this is the issue where they finally make their escape.
So is this so like, so that kick-ass bone creature, I actually thought that
now
was
a fortress.
I assumed it was like a skeleton, right?
Right. Yep. But they have created a fortress inside of it because it's a giant dinosaur-sized creature.
Okay. And so other than in this original, this part of the original run, you're saying, like, what's happening here because you read this, or because these characters and this bony creature has come out after like later on in other.
It's from reading the original issues.
Oh, I see. Okay.
There's no significant usage of this.
No,
beyond.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. Yeah. Oh, so Delight is telling us, I'm not a Star Wars fan, as I am a fan of The Empire Strikes Back. It's not just the best Star Wars film, it's one of the best films ever made. Did you mean to say I'm not as much of a Star Wars fan as I am a fan of The Empire Strikes Back? I think that's what you
think so.
That's the gist of it, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Empire's my favorite Star Wars film. So
I think that's a lot of people's favorite, right?
Yeah.
It's my second favorite, but it's just it's because of my pure nostalgia for the 77. Just even though I wasn't able to see that in the theater or whatever, but that was my first VHS, like, and laser disc at a friend's house, like the first kid to ever have a big screen TV in my neighborhood. Like, I would be watching these freaking massive laser discs, and we would watch it on that constantly.
I still have my laser discs.
As a film, I guess I would agree that Empire Strikes Back is a better film, but there's your like film rating and then your own personal, what you love.
Yeah, exactly.
And for anyone that doesn't follow my CAF gallery, I post new Star Wars pages every day during the month of May. There will be 2 pages.
And I try to keep up with Jeff and eventually fail to make it.
There'll be 2 pages from that issue coming up, and
you can down here where I'm pointing, down below where I'm pointing. First, you'll see a thumbs up logo. Maybe click that. I would appreciate that if you hit the thumbs up first of all, and then further below in the description, underneath the description of this video, you can see the gallery links, all the pertinent gallery and or social media links to these 2 gentlemen. So as Jeff was just mentioning, you can just use the link right there. It'll take you right to his gallery and see all the Star Wars art that he's got. Question for you guys, because Marcus makes a good point. Is there anything that made it out of the Marvel series that has had a lasting impact?
I guess it depends on what it is.
I think it's had influence on some of the comics that have come out recently from Marvel. Like they did that whole War of the Bounty Hunters crossover event thing in more modern comics, and I think that was kind of inspired by some of the portions of the original run where they were trying to have like certain characters look for Han Solo.
Okay.
Which brought back some Marvel original run only characters into the current comics.
Into the current run.
But Dave Filoni pulls back into all the existing expanded universe material. So I would not be surprised. Well, we've seen some preview footage for The Mandalorian and Grogu, and one of the little devices he's in was inspired by drawings for a mini rig, part of the action figure line from the original movies, that then was brought to life on Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld, in Revenge of the Sith, that he's now going to be reusing again in The Mandalorian and Grogu, sort of a mini Scout Walker. So these threads continue to get woven through the universe, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some stuff from the original comic coming back.
Yeah, and like the animated series stuff probably has because there's so many episodes of Clone Wars that it's hard to remember every little detail, but I'm sure that they pulled stuff out of some of these comics. It's I guess it's debatable whether it's significant impact or just Easter eggs or little tidbits and nods here and there.
As far as major story components, probably not. But
not many, yeah.
As long as a visual reference that gets reused, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Right. Did you see this comment by Rick? That's awesome. He went to the theater in 77 when it came out when he was 6. The seats were all taken, so he stood in the aisle. Can you imagine just standing in the aisle for 2 hours watching a movie? And what I don't get is how could they have sold isn't it wouldn't the theater have already known
they just sold general admission at that point, right? They didn't sell specific seats. So
no, but the theater knows how many seats are in every theater, so they would know how many.
They were probably trying to squeeze a little extra out of these.
They were trying to get
That's
well,
crazy.
I mean, with some of the lines, those first couple weeks that the movie actually ran. After the original release, it wouldn't surprise me if they, allowed that just to get a couple extra ticket sales and shorten that line a bit.
I think the light might have something there, though, Rick.
Probably snuck in.
You might have snuck in. You paid to go see the naked booby Hammer film, and then you just were like, let me just sneak into Star Wars, Packed house, I bet, in 77 for sure, And there was one comment here, which where was it? That Tom said, the Mandalorians, because that's what I want to ask. They mentioned the word Mandalorian during this Marvel series?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And those 2 issues for that storyline was prominently involved a group of Mandalorians, and they all, because it hadn't been further developed by the cartoons in particular. They all wore armor that looked just like Boba Fett's. So it was that same green paint scheme. Right. So you couldn't tell one or another apart in the comics because they all had the same armor.
But to be honest, as more of a fair weather fan, I guess you could call myself. Number one, I never heard of the word Mandalorian until that TV show was announced, right? And then when I kind of saw the whatever preview for it or whatever, and I saw the character, I was like, oh, a Boba Fett show. So to me, I still when I see it, I still think it's Boba Fett. I don't see much of a difference. I just think, some slight costume differences, but it's Boba Fett. I think it's always Boba Fett. I never know it's.
I think that's probably what the majority of what you just fair weather fans probably think. Also, that's no big deal.
Okay. Hey, Mickey, when I saw Star Wars in 77 in New York, you could stay through another screening of the film. I watched it twice. Yeah, but back in those days, I've heard that a lot, that almost any movie, people used to do that. You pay for the one movie, and okay, it ended, and nobody would come and check for you and clear out the cinema. And so you just stay there, and then the next showing would start, and you'd watch
I did that in the 90s, when I was a teenager, too, so... I think only recently when all ticketing became kind of like specific seats and
digital reserve seats through Fandango.
Oh boy. All right. So from there, we're going to go to a interesting that it's a very, very highly regarded artist, a great artist. I don't think it's a great cover though, but let me know what you guys think about this.
Michael Golden.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and okay, I'll admit that a lot of it for me, once again, has to do with leaving blank backgrounds. It bugs me a lot, right? But there is some kind of cool, stuff about it. I do like Golden style, and that robot thing in the background looks pretty cool. Interesting looking character, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit bland, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, it matches the aesthetic on the inside of the issue. This was a fill-in issue, so he also might not have had a lot of time. And I don't remember this being an inventory issue.
No,
this is the issue that immediately precedes the adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back, which was issues 39 through 44 in the original series. And so they had to push back, because actually at the end of issue 37, the issue before this, they say the next issue is going to be The Empire Strikes Back. And then a month later, issue 38 hit the shelves. So there was this delay that they filled in with this issue. So he might have not had a lot of time to put this together either. Because again, I don't think it was an inventory issue that was just laying around. I think they rushed this into production. There is a cult of collectors that follow, or sort of revere this issue by Michael Golden, because it sort of has that heavy metal aesthetic applied to the Star Wars universe, with his unique take on Luke and Leia and the way he draws those characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a bondage cover in a way,
Yeah, that too.
You're right, though. The light, I agree. I mean, I like the expression on Leia's face. I do think that it's a very, the posture's pretty lively. But yeah, something about it just.
I think it's okay as a one-off, but like it's not for me. It's not one of my favorite covers from the original.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm so used to. I guess I'm spoiled, and I love a lot of Golden's art. So I feel like, oh, you know how you get spoiled, and you feel like everything's got to be great, and then you're disappointed when it's not always super great, right?
This is a weird story, and that it's an extra dimensional spaceship that they bump into after a bad attempt at a hyperspace jump. They wind up out beyond known space in the void, and this spaceship is organic, and so kind of like Aliens, the pilot has now sort of melded with the ship, and the ship is organic and can create stuff. Sort of like a Star Trek holodeck. And so they just have been entertaining themselves, the pilot and the ship, drifting through the void, playing these little war games, instant amongst themselves in the hangars and stuff. And at first, when Luke and Leia's ship wind up docking in, the pilot of the other ship presumes that they're just part of the simulated games going on. And it's only at the last minute, when the two of them are actually getting ready to get sucked out into space and expire, that the pilot realizes they're organic living beings and shuts off everything, and then realizes how long it's been since the war that happened in their dimension that sent them off into the void, and then ends up returning them back to Imperial, or into the Star Wars universe, and takes out a couple of Imperial Star Destroyers with some big organic green blobs. So it's definitely a outlier within the
it's
run.
It's an oddball story issue.
Oh, you remember reading this as well, Kavi?
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd. Oh. Like my personal favorite issues from the run are more to do with like the main 4 to 6 characters, and like especially that the ones that are basically about the search for Han Solo. Like those are some of my favorite issues, like 70 and
those issues in the early 70s.
Yeah, the early 70s.
So out of curiosity, how much of the Marvel series, the 107 issues, have you guys read? Have you read it all?
I have the omnibus. Yeah, I have the omnibus, and that's how I've read it. I mean,
but you've read it. You've read it all. You've gotten from one.
I've read it all, but it's not really my favorite necessarily. Right. Like from story perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
From art perspective, I like a lot of it.
Yeah.
Well, for me, because I've got a few years on Kavi. I mean, that's as much as I like the Dark Horse books from the 2000s. My connection to those is because I was friends with a bunch of those artists. Dan Parsons and Joe Caroni, and that group. And so I think about my fun and adventures hanging out with those guys as much as I do the artwork. Whereas reading the Marvel comics as a kid is where my sweet nostalgia spot is.
Yeah.
And so, I reread those issues all the time.
Really?
Especially now that I've got Marvel Unlimited, I can just pull them up on the iPad and
Yeah, that's a lot more convenient than the omnibus. I should give it another read in that convenient format, because holding up the omnibus like doesn't really work for me anymore. I stopped buying.
Heavy, cumbersome and heavy. Is that all right? Let's go on to the next one.
The iPad's so much lighter when sitting on the can, doing my daily reading.
Whatever it takes, right? Whatever
I'm over 50. What can I say?
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good. All good. All right, let's check out another one. We're going to go closer towards the end and jump back into the 80s here. And let's check this out. This is dramatic. I love this dramatic. That's what I like about this scene. It's dramatic. So that's what I like about this cover. Tell me what you guys think.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah. I just love the whole idea of like looking down into like something like the Grand Canyon, right? Like I don't like heights, so whenever I see drawings like that, it's cool, And it's the fact that it's a stormtrooper.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ruben, but wasn't this sold pretty recently? Like,
I
think
sold in the last year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I kind of remember. Yeah, but I don't know who. I believe I got this from the auction house. So I don't know who owned it.
Yeah, I remember because it's like almost like a falling cover, almost. It kind of has that.
Yeah.
I remember
the cliff guy with all the.
I remember psyching myself up to bid on this one, but obviously I didn't come close, which is the usual scenario for me on these vintage pieces. But yeah.
Yep, Bob McLeod did the interior penciling, and Tom Palmer did the inks. But this story was written by Randy Stradley, who would become the Dark Horse Star Wars editor, a decade later. And so he wrote this Star Wars issue for Marvel. And this introduced the Yanchori, which are sort of the desert tortoise alien species. And they have come back in the animated series. So there's another one of the species created for the original Marvel run that's now come back in the more modern era with the animated shows.
Yeah. But what do you think of the actual cover scene, Jeff?
I think it's a good one. I mean, it's a key piece of the story arc. Leia's on a diplomatic mission to meet with the leaders of this turtle species. Unbeknownst to her, the Empire has already gotten to the planet and captured all their elders, and so she's going to be betrayed and taken prisoner. And so when they get to this scene where she's broken loose and this one stormtrooper is still trying to chase her and capture her, as she's hanging off the cliff and he's holding onto her arm, a necklace with a piece of rock slips out of under his helmet, out of his armor, and she realizes it's a piece of Alderaan, a piece of the planet after it was blown up. So he was originally from Alderaan, her home planet, but now he's a stormtrooper serving the Empire, which destroyed the planet. So he then has a discourse with her, and at the last minute tries to help her make her getaway, and then he gets killed. And so it's sort of a poignant, self-contained single story there. But
yeah, it's a cool one. I like the perspective. I always like this hairstyle on Leia too, and I like that jumpsuit, like that jumpsuit that she's wearing. It's pretty cool too. I just like everything about this one.
Well, the suit, for me at least, it makes her look like it's more like athletic, like she can move around and at least fight somewhat, or what I mean, like not just be that's the sweet damsel, Well,
yeah, it's more of the rebellion leader than the prince, the politician or royalty side of her character design. So that's what I always
exactly. I just want to ask, because I thought it was a joke, but Dino said, do stormtroopers have numbers on their back? Rick made a joke, like he thought I was joking. He thought he was joking. He says, this one goes to 11. And then the light says, Dino makes a good point, but then she laughs. I'm not sure. It did look like 011, but I thought they all had that.
Oh, they do have all that, or they all do have that.
Yeah,
and I can't remember if it's an Easter egg of some sort or not.
Well, they all have number designations, but they're not.
They all have that same.
Yeah.
Okay, but on the back, it's the same on the back thing. Because that's not a number, in other words.
Right. So if you remember the scene where the Millennium Falcon's docking with the Death Star in the original film, and they're outside the hangar still as they're approaching. There's two tiny stormtroopers in the foreground, and they're wearing extra backpacks with hoses that go up and connect to their helmets, and they call them space troopers. And both of those were played by Joe Johnston. Lucasfilm. Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day.
They had made two space trooper costumes, and one of them got stolen the night before filming. So he ended up getting filmed twice, and they did a split screen thing. But anyway, that was just supposed to look like part of the air system and stuff that would connect on with that extra backpack and all. But I don't know if someone intentionally did that to represent their initials or something when they were making the original armor. Now in Phantom Menace, when the droid army gets deactivated and they all kind of go limp, Jar Jar walks up to one and pokes it, and that one has 1138 stenciled on the back.
Sorry, because of THX or whatever.
Jar Jar did what? Sorry.
So when they're the Gungans, Jar Jar's people are fighting the droid army in the Phantom Menace episode 1. Anakin then goes up and blows up their control ship, and so all the droids go limp and are deactivated. And there's a running gag in Star Wars for THX 1138. And so that battle droid that he pushes over has 1138 stenciled on it. So that is one of those instances. But as far as the 011 on the Stormtrooper, that's trivia knowledge beyond me.
Yeah.
It's possible that there's some story about that, but I don't know it.
Yeah. Okay. I just figured it's just some random circle with two vertical, thing, molded plastic.
I believe that's what it is. It's just a design of the
design of to make it look like whatever.
Let's go on to the next one.
Some of the circuitry or whatever is inside underneath those things, whatever, part of the costume or whatever, That's what I always say.
TJ.
Hey, TJ, what's going on, man? Thank you. Appreciate for dropping by, even if it's just to hit the like, man. And in American Graffiti. Oh, were you talking about Han Solo? He was in there. It said Mark Hamill ad-libbed the number in the line of cell block 1138. Okay. I don't recall any Arabic numerals in Star Wars. They always made up their own fonts and symbols. Yeah. Makes sense. Thanks. All right. Well, good to know, Dino, that you were being serious, because like I said, I wasn't sure.
Because if you scroll back about 20 minutes, there was a whole THX 1138 discussion in the chat, which is a reference that ties back to American Graffiti. So your favorite actor, Harrison Ford's drag racer, that was his license plate.
Oh, was it?
But it was also the name of George Lucas's student film.
That I remember. That I remember.
And so that has appeared variously throughout.
Yeah, I'm gonna second what Tom says there, and it's like some of the Easter egg shit is like so fucking deep,
right?
That it's like, like it is kind of like, okay, there's like canon knowledge, there's non-canon knowledge, and then there's like deep cut Easter eggs that like you have to like laser into your brain.
Which Erdl plastic model tank kit provided this part from the front of the Millennium Falcon? I have no idea.
But not Harrison Ford.
Oh, that's right. It was the other car. Sorry, I mixed up the wrong American Graffiti car.
G Cannon. What is G Cannon? And it's one.
Let's see the next piece, Ruben. Let's go, bro.
So the next piece is finally going to make Marcus happy, I believe. There we go. Number 24. It's a you look at that. You get the for all you Obi-Wan Kenobi fans. You get a solo Obi-Wan cover by Carmine Infantino and Bob Wojciech.
I wish this story had become the Obi-Wan TV series instead of the Obi-Wan TV series we got. But
there was an Obi-Wan TV series. Holy shit!
Yep,
there was
like live action.
Yep,
in the last 6 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Wow.
With Ewan McGregor.
Oh, another Ewan McGregor thing. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it, but the thing is, because I like it because, of course, full background, right? Like interior of, I guess, spaceship or whatever they're on, looking out into outer space and all of that.
He's on a galactic cruise.
A galactic cruise. But yeah, all that detail is very beautiful. The only thing that bugs me, of course, is I just know Obi-Wan in his brown robe. So these new robes, if it wasn't for the fact that he's old or whatever, I wouldn't know if it was Obi-Wan,
Well, and in the issue, it's actually a flashback story, and he's much younger. In the issue.
Really? Oh.
And so they only put him in the robes on the cover so people would recognize it was Obi-Wan, when they started, so that they could get to the point to introduce that this was a flashback story that's to follow.
Okay. I really like covers from a first person kind of perspective, right? Like you see the blasters, like you're firing at.
Yeah, you're holding one of those, or
like it's like you're holding a blaster at Obi-Wan. I really kind of dig that sort of design for covers.
Yeah, being surrounded, POV, the POV,
exactly.
Yeah. The viewer is the one holding, the Caucasian hand on the bottom right hand, I guess, if you're right-handed, let's say, or the one to the left if you're left-handed, right? So, yeah, it's cool. You get to be one of the characters with this one, So for that reason mainly, even though it's got only one recognizable character, I love it.
Yeah, Rick's kind of making fun of the red saber there. That is kind of odd coloring on that. But.
Oh, what is it supposed to be? Like green or
blue? Yeah, there typically are the Jedi colors, and Sith usually are the red sabers. So, this is if you are tied to the canon, this would be improper. But Marvel colorists of the time.
Yeah, it could just be bad coloring and printing.
Well, it was just
wrong,
make it eye-catching. Yeah, make it eye-catching on the shelves, which is why when you read the adaptation of the movie, Darth Vader has a lot of panels where he's got blue and green highlights all over his armor. They were working off of limited reference.
Yeah, they didn't even see the movie. So.
They couldn't just stream it. Yeah, they couldn't just stream it on the TV to capture the reference and all. And so, to make it stand out on the rack, a purple red color pops more than just brown and light blue. So
remind me though, wasn't it some kind of thing where the good guys had to have one color sabers, the bad guys had the other color? Wasn't it like
the Sith
usually have red sabers basically, but there are other colors that the Jedi have had.
Most of the Jedi are blue or green.
Mostly blue and green, but there have been others. Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson got purple because he's Samuel L. Jackson.
Exactly. Yep. He got purple because he said he wanted it, and George said yes. Yeah.
Oh, you're being serious about that?
Yeah, that's how it happened. Yeah.
Because he wanted to have his own color, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's Samuel L. Jackson.
I know.
And I believe they actually scribed his lightsaber hilt, and it matches his wallet.
What?
His wallet from Pulp Fiction, the one that says "Bad Mother."
Yeah.
I think they actually have that scribed on the hilt of his lightsaber.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he get to keep it after the movies?
I'm sure he did.
I mean, if they caved to his demand of color mine purple, I would think he would have demanded, I'm also getting that thing after the movie's over. and they probably would have said, okay, you can have your lightsaber. Not that the actual prop has any purple to come out of it, but you know.
Now that Tom made that comment, I think I remember him saying that during an interview.
Saying what?
That he requested a purple so that when they had the big battles, he'd be
because there was a big scene in that where there was a lot of saber action going on,
and everyone else had blue and green.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let us jump to the next one, and I believe it's another Carmine. Check it out.
Yep. Cool. Carmine and Bob Wyacek did a lot of the early covers before The Empire Strikes Back. Some of the issues, and I can think of a few in particular with covers, would try to tie things from the toy line, and they did make the remote control Jawa Sandcrawler. There was also an Imperial troop transport that wasn't in the films that turns up in the comics and then ended up in the Mandalorian TV series. And so I think in addition to being able to revisit Tatooine for this story arc, they were able to plug in some toy line connections, which never hurts when you can cross market.
Yeah. Do you remember, like, at this point? So this is number 32. I'm assuming this is all like beyond issue 6. I think it was. This is all brand new, made up stories, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So between issues 7 and 38 is all new material by Marvel between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
Right. And then like 39 to 45 or something like that for Empire.
39 to 44, and then 45 to 80 is the gap between Empire and Jedi. And of course, Jedi ended up being a 4-issue standalone series.
Right.
So 81 picks up right after.
Yeah, to me, that gap is like the best part of the originals run. That
really?
45 to 80.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's my, I'm coming at it from a perspective of having read it, way after it was coming out. You know what I mean? Because
for sure.
Well, I was reading it coming out, and that's the Simonson run is in that arc, and that whole Shira Bree storyline plays out in the 60s, late 50s through
the Simonson
mid-60s.
Stuff, the Kerry Gamble stuff, all that kind of pocket of stuff. I love that, especially the art.
I always say different strokes for different folks. I haven't read any of them, so you're gonna like whatever you like, right? So, very cool. This next one, we're jumping back towards the end of the series, but it's not a Cynthia Martin, which is what most people come to mind for most people when you talk about the end of the series. This was a guy who was a great inker for decades, but also could occasionally paint. Check it out.
Yep.
Good pick.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. This was a double-sized issue.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
When it came out. Yeah, horrifying. And even at the time when it came out, I remember thinking, "Oh my god, like so cool that it looks like it might be painted, but it's so badly printed." I was like, is it painted or?" It's so bizarre. If you check out the Millennium Falcon, it's like they amped up something so that they could. It's like they were trying to like make it look more like line art that's been colored,
right?
Right? Like why? Like, and then Chewie, the same thing with Chewie. Like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to make it look like it's colored line art? What's the point of paying a guy to paint this? But yeah, crazy.
Yes. Some odd sense of having consistency. It's just, it is. I don't agree with it either, but it's,
I mean, they would have just had to run it through the color plates like any other, print job. So it definitely lost all the detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Light Loves Movies is asking, did one writer pen the new stories or did they have many writers?
There was more than one writer.
There were several writers.
Yeah, they would usually do, chunks of issues. So you'd get a story arc that could be anywhere from 3 issues to some of them ran over the course of 6, 8 issues, or they do 3 issues of a story arc and then revisit, that again after a few issues. Thinking of the couple of times they visited the water planet of Iskalon in the original series. So yeah, there were multiple writers throughout the series. I don't know if I have a particular favorite.
Tom said he liked this particular issue. Was this like do you remember this being a standalone single issue story? A single story issue? Whatever.
It had elements that were standalone, but then it also had time
wrapping up.
Yeah,
like wrapped
up some early stuff, but then also staged some stuff going forward.
Okay, and Delight thanks you for the answer. Okay, excellent. But yeah, Palmer is great. I believe I have another Palmer coming up too. Pen and ink. But yeah, let's go to the next.
And that one was not in someone's collection. The painted
this one, no, yeah, exactly. Nobody seems to have posted this one yet. Yeah, like we always say, right? Like you I keep talking about how you look at every auction and it's got like tens of millions of dollars worth of art getting sucked up, and most of it doesn't get posted, right? Most of it is just swallowed up, and yeah, you don't see it being posted. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but at least we get to see the scans from the auction house itself. So that's cool.
Okay, so Dino said it inherited April 2024. So
there you go. Thank you, Dino. Speaking of Dino.
Oh, here we go. So jealous. So damn jealous.
So there's certain key issues from the original run. Yeah, when I started collecting Star Wars pages, I had a goal of getting a representative page from each artist that worked on the original series. And if you just break it down by how many pencilers and how many inkers there were 44 different artists across the 107 issues. So it's not a super daunting task. I mean, except for some of them only did single issues, like Mazzucchelli. And so, you only got 22 possible shots at getting one. But then there's certain issues that I've been, the story is very nostalgic, and this is one of those. Issue 80 was the issue that set up the Return of the Jedi, and it's about the rebel spies who are portrayed in the original series as Bothans. That gets retconned a bit later, and Bothans become a non-human species. But basically, these are 2 rebel pilots who have the Death Star tapes, who are trying to get them to Leia and the rebels for the second Death Star, to let them know that it's out there and to give them the schematics for it. And this is almost a heart-wrenching story of what one of them goes through, and shows sort of his droid, who is the protocol droid we see seated there with him, and sort of the humanity she displays, even though she's a machine, in regards to her human owner.
Is she so sorry? I was, I apologize, but it's hard sometimes to catch everything my co-hosts say when I'm trying to look at comments on the chat. Right. Did you say that is this a person inside a metal outfit, or is she a robot?
No, she's a protocol droid like C-3PO.
Oh, like C-3PO. Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
She's a droid.
Okay, but has like emotion like humans then?
She not programmed that way, but certainly displays them because of what happens with her owner.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I mean, I think this is one of the top covers for me. Like, if I had to make a top 10 list or whatever, I never have, but like, just I know that this one would be in it. I feel like, from the original art to publication, this retained like the majority of what made the original art great, right? On the published cover, and they didn't ruin it too badly, with the coloring. And I just really like this cover a lot.
Yeah,
I own the Ron Friends prelims for this. He did 4 thumbnails with 4 different ideas for this cover. And one of the commission ideas I sometimes throw out there is for an artist to take one of those other thumbnails they didn't use for this issue and make.
And Marcus owns the corner box art.
Yep.
And
Dino's got the cover now. Super congrats. I mean,
yeah,
it's a great one.
It's awesome.
Yeah, congrats, Dino. I did mention in my comment when he posted it that I was like, oh yeah, perfect, just in time for this Sunday show. I'll be adding this in, So yeah,
nice.
There's no way I was going to leave that
I'm glad that timed out.
Yeah.
In my comment, I literally said that I hated him and that I'm expressing all my dark side thoughts right now.
All of Kavi's jealousy.
All the Darth Kavi has come out in my comment.
It's so funny. It's like that little tangent that Marcus points out. It really does make it look like he's got one of those Nazi helmets, right? With the spike on top.
A little bit because of the way that A is. Yeah, it sort of has that
the trade
World War I era helmet. Yeah.
That's crazy. What's up, Alex? Yeah. Jeff, don't you have a recreation of this cover?
Yep, and several alternate versions. So, yeah. In
really?
fact, I've got a Hembeck sketch card.
Yeah, Dino knows it was all just for fun, but I did go negative in my comment slightly.
Prussian helmet, exactly. There you go. That's funny.
It's all for the love of Dino and this cover. Excellent
stuff. And there's a few other Darth Vader centric covers coming up. There's a lot. That's one thing I noticed about the series. He's the main villain, so I guess it makes sense, but they're all pretty cool, I gotta say. Most of the Vader centric ones, All right, so that leads us to this next one, and this next one, I want to see what you guys have to say about this. Check it out.
Oh boy.
Not much to say.
Well, what else can you say?
Just it's freaking awesome.
Says, let the Wookiee win.
That's funny.
So this is so after they did the 7 Samurai inspired storyline, they end up on a water planet, and of course, Luke's from the desert, so he winds up totally out of his element, and it's sort of pirate themed. It's a water planet. Everyone still has wooden ships for the most part, and so they're in the hold of one of these ships as prisoners. I can't remember if this is the only Byrne cover or if he did maybe 2 again in the early teens of the run.
Gosh, I don't remember any other one, but you could.
Why does like Chewbacca looks like twice as big in the color version to me, like the zoom on it or something? I don't know.
Just the mask with the coloring on it,
or maybe just the bad coloring on him.
Yeah.
The coloring is definitely awful, and
it's terrible.
You're putting, you got Luke's legs against Chewbacca's body, so they're kind of disappearing, right? And it's like,
that was such an odd choice there. I don't.
And of course, because he's wearing tan pants and Chewbacca's brown fur,
it just blends in. It's so
they
weird.
made the ship background, which is all ship timbers, blue. So
I hate that
to make it low lighting.
Yeah, I know what they were trying to do there, obviously, but I hate it. That blue and purple in the background, just it makes it awful, man. Yeah. But whatever, Again, back in the day, right? It's like you weren't, we didn't look at original art. We just looked at our comics, right? And we probably thought, oh yeah, okay, cool, cool cover, right?
It's got a big Chewbacca. That's
it.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking at.
That's it. But now it's like,
modern covers and modern printing abilities with so much of it,
we're
being able
spoiled.
to transition digital. Yeah,
that helped. That changed everything. Plus, we're spoiled because we're original art fans, right? And getting to see the line art without the color obstructing it, right? So
yeah. There is just something really nostalgic and cool about the trade dress of the OG Marvel comics. Like when I see a cover like one of those Cynthia Martins or whatever that didn't have the trade dress, I just like really miss it,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure, exactly. All right, so we're gonna go back to Carmine and daddy-daughter cover. This is cool.
Holy cow! What can you say about this issue? Leia, and so this is post Return of the Jedi, or not? Sorry, post Empire Strikes Back. Right, Return, but post Empire Strikes Back. Again, 4 issues later. She and Vader go to a banking planet, which doesn't allow weapons. She's looking to get loans for the rebellion, and he's looking to block her and potentially capture her. And so he brings these 3 assassins, one of whom is a giant, monstery looking guy who can control his density and gravity. One can turn into I can't even remember now. And the third one is Count Chocula. I mean, the way they drew him, he looks like Count Chocula. And I think he can turn into a butterfly or something. He's a shapeshifter. And so they're in a butterfly sanctuary, and he turns into a butterfly. And, R2 sprays him, and then Leia stomps on him to get rid of that assassin. It's a quirky storyline. I know 45 was Larry Hama. This might have been one of the Larry Hama stories in terms of writing. If I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's a real quirky story, but it's a great action cover, especially since for the majority of the issue, they're not allowed to have weapons. And so, there's all these alternate things going on where Leia does not have a blaster and he does not have a lightsaber. So,
and what do they do if they don't have their weapons?
Well, it's that game of politics and stomping on the butterfly that's your secret hidden assassin.
And that's the thing. Like Marcus says, but Vader could just force the choke, right?
That is true. That is always a possibility.
Or was that the story was like, since there's no weapons, somehow any other power gets kind of taken away from everyone.
No, I think he still had all of his Sith force powers, but that means it would have been obvious if they were standing there with all the bankers and he reached out and she suddenly lifted into the air. Or if she gets stung by the deadly butterfly.
Yes.
It was Larry Hama, Jeff. It was Larry Hama.
The light says
that was like that was a part of the run where they had like a different writer on like each issue for like 5 issues in a row or something like that.
They had a span where they were trying to get a new team in place following the adaptation. So
like Archie Goodwin and somebody, a JM something,
JM DeMatteis.
DeMatteis, yeah. They all did issues in that little pocket.
The light just mentioning because of what we were talking about earlier with the previous, the coloring on the John Byrne and Terry Austin cover. The Severin had been, doing the colors nicely during the 60s. And then after that, it started changing, and there was a lot more colorists coming in or whatever, not up to her standards. And that's what happens though sometimes, right? The light, you in any business, when you have control of everything. But then the business grows and you have to start farming. You can't do it all yourself. You have to start farming out some of the duties. right? And and you can't trust every employee to be as good or care as much or whatever. And yeah, that tends to happen. It is what it is, Butterflies are free to fly until splat. Okay. So yeah, let's go to the next one. The next one, is it another Vader? Oh, I don't think so. Oh, okay. So I really like this next one. Again, because it's a very complete full background, the works. Oh, and it has my least favorite character being a typical wimp. Check it out. So pretty awesome, right? It's like number 5, really early cover, really cool. You got Chewie and Skywalker running, and there's Han Solo by himself. It's too late, kid. We're finished. Like, yeah, lay down and die. Let's just lay down and die together. Come on, kid. Like, guys, seriously? How does anybody love that guy? Anyways, let's talk about the art. All right. I'm getting worked up. Okay. It's a kick-ass cover, right? With the Death Star in outer space there. Looking.
Yeah, I mean, this is still during the adaptation, but it you didn't see this scene in the film. That's like this.
Really, right.
Yeah, because Han was busy packing his loot, getting ready to escape before the Death Star got there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a cool like almost like alternate telling of certain scenes, but an awesome cover.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I just love that not only is all that sort of I believe that's part of the Millennium Falcon there, right? The round thing, the engine, or
the cockpit, front of the cockpit.
Yeah. I guess what I'm not understanding is when I kept
like
staring
right above Han, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because what I wasn't understanding was I was looking at them thinking, okay, so they're kind of like inside the space station or whatever it appears, but if that's the case, why do you look up and there's no ceiling or whatever and you can see the Death Star in outer space? I don't get that.
Well, I think
probably because they had no context. Yeah, they probably had no context to like the scope and size of the Death Star compared to,
Okay.
It's just kind of an.
Well, the movie was being edited right up until basically.
But you think they had access for this issue?
I doubt it. And issue 1 hit stands a month before the film even came out, so these were in production months before,
well before that,
and they had very little photo reference, much less had been able to watch the movie to see what was going on. So I
guess Mandel owns this one, according to Tom. So
yeah, I think this is supposed to be parked out in front of the temple, and so that's the temple you can see in the background and going off to the left above Chewie, but not in the hangar at the temple.
Right.
Okay, the first season of his podcast, they did a show about the hunt for this cover. I guess you're talking about, Tom.
Well, as Dino points out, the Death Star is currently blowing up the ceiling, or parts of the ceiling.
Oh, right. Oh, well,
maybe,
okay. Yeah.
Maybe they've already blown the roof off.
Right. Yeah. Or maybe Hoberg just figured, hey, this will make a great scene, a great looking cover.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, Marcus is telling us this is on Yavin. Is he right?
Well, yeah, that's where the temples are. Yeah, it's the rebel base.
Okay. Okay. Oh, very cool. Excellent. Great. So from there, we're going to go to another one of those aforementioned Darth Vader centric covers, which I love for 2 reasons. Not only because Vader's the central focus, but it's got all the other characters in one of my favorite themes that you've seen this many times before on comic covers, the chessboard. Check it out. I love that. I love that.
This is one of my favorite T-shirts.
Oh, yeah? You have this on a T-shirt?
As this cover, yep.
Oh, cool.
Bill J.
Yeah, Bill Johnson's got this one, yeah. Yeah, it's great. Like I said, I've always loved chessboard motif covers, right? And I love covers where, the villain's looming up in the background in the sky kind of thing. And so it's really fun. For me, this is just super, super fun with all the main characters, Yeah, that's why I love about this.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of Infantino. And I know he's got his detractors, he's got his fans. I like his stuff. There's a lot more, better artists, but there's something, again, quirky and quaint about his style that I enjoy,
Yeah, there were a lot of fans that didn't like his take on Luke in particular because he gave him the surfer haircut. Yeah, with the longer hair, even more so than Hamill had in the movie. But yeah, this issue and the next couple are in the middle of the story arc with the Tag family, and they were all Imperials of one ilk or another, either serving in the Imperial Navy or one was an Imperial scientist. That's Baron Tag, I believe his first name was Orman, and Darth Vader's hand in the green outfit with the visor on. And then they had a sister who was in a monastery that I think turns up in issue 36 or 37, so just an issue or two later, Domina Tag, who watches all of her brothers basically get killed, and then she goes on a vengeful streak against Luke, and then she pops back up in the new Dr. Aphra run a couple years back. And so they reintroduced part of the tags from the Marvel series, the vintage series, into the new one. And there is a Mannix version of this.
Is there?
That I believe Andrew Allen picked up at OAX.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wait,
it was big.
I don't know if you just said it, Jeff, but is this the issue where like he learns about Luke Skywalker, or is that a different one?
I don't remember if it's this one or not.
I know that there's an issue in the 30s where Vader finds out, like,
well, by this point he's already fought Valance in issue 29, and Valance fell in the lava lake. So by that point he already knew Skywalker.
Yeah, I think it might be, because it's either this one or the next one where he finds out that Luke Skywalker is the guy that blew up the Death Star in the comics.
Oh, wait, Andrew Hanna. Sorry, not Andrew. Yeah, there's a couple of Andrews that have Star Wars art, but Marcus is right. It was Andrew Hanna that got the Mannix version.
And a couple of our friends just pointed out that once again they gave the Nazi helmet to Vader again. Did you notice?
Yeah, that positioning is consistent, I guess.
You really have to offset him one way or the other to keep that from happening. If at all you attempt to put him big and in the center, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, that's funny. Yes, exactly, Tom. Andrew Allen is the Micronauts collector, big time.
But also a vintage Star Wars guy.
But I believe he also has some Star Wars art as well.
He's got some great Star Wars art. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we go from there. Oh, yeah. So this next one, love it too. You guys like floating head covers? That's another thing. People either hate them or love them.
I like them.
I like them. And
I'm usually not a fan of them, only because. So I went to the first 4 Star Wars celebrations. And there was always sort of an art show component. And so all the artists that were there did an art piece. And every time, half of them would just be heads floating in space with a spaceship.
Oh, really?
And I was just like, it just seems like
overkill.
I don't want to say lazy.
Yeah, overkill because too many.
I like them in the context of vintage comics. I don't like them being reused now in modern times.
But even then, I was just sort of, I want a full scene, not just random. I get
that. Yeah. But for the old school Marvel comics, whether it's FF or whatever, when I see floating
unless
heads,
it was one of those West Coast Avengers or something where they'd put a scene in the middle, but then do the heads of everybody.
Oh yeah, like as a like
show the team. Yeah,
it's cool.
Well,
let's look at it.
Let's look at it and see what you think.
Well, this one you gotta like just because of the wheel. I mean, forget the heads floating in space.
Some kind of weird death wheel thing. Yeah. I love that. And I love the fact that it's a skull. I love skulls. Outer space background's beautiful as usual, right? The only thing I will say that I don't like, it's because I don't know what's going on here, but it looks like the wheel is like a weird looking hat for the skull guy.
It looks like a mariachi.
Exactly.
During Day of the Dead. Yeah.
Exactly. Like the brim is like coming down a little too low. And I don't know, it's just weird, right? And then I'm wondering, I don't know if it's a coloring mistake, but if you just follow the skull from the bottom to the top of the head, right? So above the wheel, it doesn't like is that supposed to be the top of his skull? Because it doesn't seem to match up with the shape of the skull. Like
it is supposed to be, and no, it does not match up.
Yeah.
Isn't that Jeff? Isn't that like a casino or something like that?
Yeah, that's Space Las Vegas.
Recall? Yeah.
And the wheel's spinning, so that's what creates the artificial gravity inside. Yeah, that's clearly a nod towards 2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
that's what Tom says. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Space Vegas, so I gotta love the wheel.
You Vegas guy, you.
Well, they even put the Star Warriors face the ultimate gamble in like the tagline down there.
Oh my god, I just noticed that.
Yeah, I mean it really
That's what
is.
reminded me of it's a casino.
It is
in the story.
A giant space station casino.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But part of it is they do gladiator style combat, and so at one point during the story arc, Han and Chewie have to fight each other, and they do it in zero gravity, and everyone's got little jetpack things, and they fly around with blasters and whatever, and
okay,
it's all super exciting.
Well,
I don't know if
we'll get the AI version of all these stories into little shorts, maybe. That'd be hilarious.
I haven't read that arc in a few years, and I don't remember what that skull is doing there. I don't remember a character with that look.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that just is, it's the wheel of death. So that's just sort of a death's head nod, but I don't think it's specific to the issue in any way.
But are they trying to show that there's a character that's a skull character, or is it that there's this giant sort of, whatever that wheel is?
No, because the center of it's a spire that sticks out both sides.
Yeah.
That's the center point.
Oh, okay. So it's not a giant
not part of the space station at all.
Okay.
No,
it's not part of the design of the space station or whatever.
It's just graphically showing the wheel of death with a death's head.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, because of the tagline on the cover. Right.
Metaphor. Yeah. Exactly. Galactus.
It'd be cool if it was Galactus's skull.
It would be cool.
We got a big Galactus Star Wars crossover.
He seems to fit the universe. He would probably look visually good in there, All right.
We find out that the Empire was a big cover-up, and Galactus really ate Alderaan, and the Empire had nothing to do with
it. All right. One of my favorite covers, again, outer space, Vader. What's not to like about this? For me, anyways. Let me know what you guys think.
23. Another one of my... Talk about floating heads. This one doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
And again, I've got a T-shirt of this cover. One of my...
Oh, cool.
Yeah, one of the ones I remember as a kid quite prominently is that shot of the Falcon blasting away from the wheel, which has no death's head on it in this one. So, yeah, it's a great cover.
Yeah, I think so too. Kavi?
Yeah, I mean, I it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a sucker for the Falcon, especially like the bigger shots.
I love
splashes or covers. It's my favorite thing. So in Star Wars. So I love it. I would love to have this.
Is that some kind of a unknown space station that's not from the movies, like that the Falcon's flying away from? What is that thing? Do you know?
That's the wheel again.
Yeah, I thought that was the wheel. That's the same ship from our station from the previous few issues.
Yeah, the art on it on the covers isn't very consistent. But on the interiors, it's a little more consistent. But that's the wheel again.
Okay.
The Space Vegas.
It's too bad the cover, the trade dress covers it all up. But really love the lightsaber in Vader's hand as well, you know, and it goes all the way up to the top of the cover. It would be cool to see without all the logos and stuff.
Yeah, they always filled that field around the Star Wars lettering with a background color to make it stand out, but then you lose the art behind it, where you could have that lightsaber traveling up through the Star Wars letters.
You still see a little tinge of red above the red.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You could see it continue, you know.
Yeah.
Which is a nice tease, but that's why it makes me wish I could see the original, you know, with the logos lifted off, you know.
Yeah.
Rick is asking, where did Han win the Falcon from Lando?
Well, if you watch the Solo,
it's in the Solo movie.
Star Wars
I don't remember what planet. Do you remember what planet that was, Jeff?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what planet it was, but it's in the Solo movie.
I was trying to remember if they mention it in the trio of Han Solo novels by Brian Daley or the trio of Lando Calrissian novels by Brian Daley.
I didn't read those,
but yeah, I believe it's mentioned in there.
Go read the novels, Rick.
Or go watch Solo, which is a better movie than people gave it credit for.
Marcus says
I'm sure any AI can probably quickly get you the answer at some point. Or options for the answer. In the case of Star Wars.
Prime?
That could be the planet.
Very well could have been. Yeah. I don't remember the planet, but I know I watched.
He's asking anyways. He's not telling us. He's asking. So
okay.
There you go, Rick. You watch Solo. Go watch Solo. All right. So doing perfect timing. Only 3 more to go, folks, and we'll let you get to bed, I guess. Those of you on the East Coast, anyways. So this next one, again, one of my all-time favorite artists. Fantastic. Love this. Check it out.
Holy crap! This one's amazing, dude. Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
And talk about another collector with a great collection of Star Wars material. Wade's got some real bangers.
Oh yeah. Do you guys know by any, like, do you have you ever, like, is he I
don't know Wade personally. Or
I've not met Wade in person
tangentially. I know of his gallery, but I don't.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I've never seen him like on social media or anything like that, you know. So
yeah, I can't recall seeing him.
Don't know who he is besides being a Star Wars art collector who's got some cool pieces, you know.
Yep.
But for me, I love pretty much most anything Sienkiewicz, but his 80s covers, the painted ones, man, so cool. Plus, I love Stormtroopers.
So cool.
It's so cool to see like a Stormtrooper like out of a space station or ship or whatever, you know, just kind of out there in space, so to speak. And with the TIE fighters down at the bottom, they're coming in, and the Falcon turning, I guess, making the turn, they're tilted. Or is that the Falcon, or is that?
It is, because that's Han Solo fighting the Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
So that's probably Chewie coming to grab Han.
Oh, is that Han Solo?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of looks like Rocketeer-ish a little bit.
Yeah, he's got a helmet and all on, but I'd recognize that gun belt anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
That buckle.
Kind of weird. I can't really see it well because it's kind of small, obviously. But
I love his use of color on this is just so awesome. It's like subtle, but it's amazing.
The color is subtle.
Yeah. I mean, not on the blaster or the planet, but everywhere else.
Oh yeah. Like it's muted or whatever. Yeah.
Muted. Yeah, that's the better word for it.
Yeah, exactly. And you get that little touch of, the blaster green, right? And that's pretty stands out. And then the red at the bottom of the planet, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool too. But by the way, is this an actual thing that can happen? In other words, do the Stormtroopers wearing these outfits have the ability to just float out in space, or is this just a cool looking thing you did for the cover? Do you know?
Depending on how far into the canon you want to go,
it's
they can the standard armor can offer a couple of minutes of protection and vacuum. It's got a small reserve.
It's a debatable thing,
right?
I guess.
But most depictions show them in other armor when they're in total vacuum.
And it doesn't even look like Han has any like real serious, outside of the helmet. It's not like the rest of his body is protected from the vacuum. So
yeah,
right.
It's kind of just like it's comics,
Right.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was, thinking or whatever, Yeah, use of color so well done. Wow, he's a master, absolute master, right from the beginning of his career. So, all right. So let us go to the next one, and for this, I'm curious to see what your comments will be. Check this out.
What a hack job! I mean,
terrible recreation.
This is where it all began.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
I only wish, and I'm sure other people wish that Chaykin had thought or had been told, make sure you put in the ships or whatever, instead of having to add them later on, probably on a stat,
right. He probably had no reference.
Yeah, maybe that too.
When this piece was done, because they were doing model work up, to the last 4 or 5 months, to get the effects that Lucas was looking for. Yeah, I mean, and you lose the lightsaber, the big lightsaber that's running from Luke's head up over Vader's helmet, in the printed version, because I wanted the full Vader helmet with both eyes showing.
It's such a classic image. It's like up there with the movie posters, even to me in ways, that when I think of, especially the original film, like there's 3 images in my head for posters and this,
Right. Well, look, Goose even asking, was this also the original promo poster from '76?
I think it was. If not, it was very similar layout.
Yeah,
the one that was handed. Well, it wasn't handed out. It was sold. They were what, $1.50 to buy them at the 1976 San Diego Comic-Con. They had a panel with Roy Chaykin and or Howard Chaykin and Roy Thomas at the 76 Comic-Con, and Mark Hamill was there, trying to build up some excitement for the film coming out the following year.
Oh, interesting. Just in case you guys didn't catch it, Marcus,
I caught it. That's crazy.
Cat piss restoration. Cat pissed on it, and it needed to get cleaned up. Wow, that's pretty wild. What a story! Holy crap!
Is that while it was in Chaykin's possession or in Mandel's? Or I don't know who had it in between.
I think there was an in-between owner.
I'm sure there was an in-between, but I don't know who those people are, obviously.
But Howard admits he had no interest in this when he got the job. It was just a paid assignment. So
How many times do you think he's done recreations for it? Like I know I've seen a couple, and I know Bill sold one on one of his sales
before 2022.
I mean, he doesn't like
zero, but in the last 2-3 years, I have no idea, because he suddenly realized that there's a group of us that will pay him to draw Star Wars.
I mean, I remember when that more recent one he did sold. I was tempted, but
he's always been very old school. He's creative. Doing line for line recreations there's no creativity in that. So it's, he's not the only guy, but a lot of artists hate doing, exact recreations.
Yeah. And I don't collect them, but there might be 1 or 2 situations where I would be tempted, and that was one of them,
And that's not a genre or a story he had any interest in. So
but also it's not even that, like, I could see, even if he did it, you guys are saying that he did a few. You've seen a few of recreations
over the last couple of years,
there was one sold on Comic Art Lives.
Okay, so but am I guessing correctly when I say it probably looked like not a line for line, but it was rather just the characters are in the position.
Clearly tell it was slightly different because he's not the same.
Because that's the other thing. When you ask an artist to recreate one of their old covers, not only is it like he doesn't draw like that anymore, but that particular cover, it's inked by Palmer, so it's got all the Palmer style inks on it, anyways.
Yeah.
So a guy
and that's
like
not
that,
possible. Yeah.
Right? A guy like Jenkins, he's not going to be wanting to like line for line it, so he's going to have to emulate Palmer's ink line. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Unless you get a hold of Howard Bender, who is taking commission requests right now. Really? And Howard is the one that worked for, he was here in the States, but worked for the Marvel UK desk. And so when they took the American issues, which were monthly, and split them up into 3 parts to be a Star Wars UK issue, Howard Bender was the one that did the art for those other 2 parts. Or would do that new intro page to say, hey, this is where we left off and where the story continues. And I just saw on Facebook today, he's taking commissions to do recreations of his Star Wars UK covers. So if you're a fan and you're in the chat, go check out
Howard Bender.
Howard Bender's Facebook.
I've seen. I mean, there's been some great homages where like you're like incorporating other characters into that similar layout of that classic image.
Yeah, I know one of those are cool. The modern artist has done a Dr. Afra cover using the Afra characters, but
and Harvey did that one with the High Republic characters. Or whatever. That was cool.
Yeah. But anyways, cool piece. It's better when Chaykin draws his own characters. Well, sure. If you don't like what you're drawing, it's not, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, but don't forget too, though, guys, like this is like 1977. So you have to put yourselves in that frame of mind of, all right, I'm working at Marvel. The editor comes over and says, so we got this new comic, whatever. It's like space and guys with these weapons with the light comes out, whatever.
It's sci-fi thing. Yeah,
it's this whole science fiction, whatever, right? It's not this beloved property that anybody knows yet, right? Exactly. So it's kind of like, whatever, science fiction. If you're not a fan, like, oh god, okay, I guess I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, because I got to feed, put money on my on food on my table, or whatever. Yeah, that's just basically it, Okay, so everybody, this leads us to the last piece, and again, I told you at the top of the show, I cheated with the first one because the first one was from the miniseries Return of the Jedi. This last one is not from this original Star Wars series. It's not a cover from the original Star Wars series. What it is a cover reinterpretation, I like to say, of an original cover from the original Marvel series.
More like an homage.
Yeah. It's so beautifully done. So I just wanted to show it. Check it out.
Yep.
Sweet.
In the collection of Jolie by Arthur Adams, the reinterpretation of Star Wars cover number 21. And did this about 14 years back, and just phenomenal. I listen, again, I said before, I always like Carmine. Sure, a lot of what I like has to do with nostalgia. He had his issues with anatomical issues, whatever. I still like it. But seeing this, it's like, wow, the perfect.
Is that original cover out there, or is it like
Black Hole Camp? No. If it was out there, I would have shown it.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I haven't seen it myself.
Terry Austin inked the original, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, just the figure work,
he makes it look like a
Luke and Leia's. Luke and Leia's figure work is absolutely astonishingly so well done. I mean, the droids are awesome. I mean, Vader is fantastic. At least Vader has a neck now. We know that. It didn't get chopped off. And it's an even better outer space scene. It's got that misty looking stuff happening there, whatever you want to call it.
Got a nebula or something in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh shit, man. That's
Maybe he's just wearing a turtleneck in the original,
A turtleneck. Hinkin did Star Reach in 74. That is true, Rick. I remember buying that when I was a young kid in the hobby, actually. Star Reach #1. Sweet, gorgeous piece, indeed. Adam's polishing this gem. Yeah, I'm glad you said that and not polishing a turd, Wide juggernaut helmet. That's the other thing, too. It really is quite wide, isn't it?
Oh, that wide mask, triangular part of Vader's mask is Telltale Infantino. He always stretched it.
Yeah, that's true. Very Telltale Infantino.
Night, CJ.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Indeed.
But yeah, I think this is very beautiful. I can't imagine. Well, I probably can't imagine what it must have cost. Mind you, he got it in 2011, so it's probably not as bad as what they cost in the last few years to get this done. But yeah, these things, they go for El Buku Buckos. I was told a couple of years ago, I went to Toronto. Adams was a guest, and I asked because a friend of mine was curious. Oh yeah, I'd like to get a commission from him, like a full cover quality commission. I was like, you know how much those things go for? He's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm willing to pay like about 10K. I was like, well, that's a lot of money, and that's great that you're willing to pay 10K. But a lot of people have told me that for full-on cover reinterpretations, because he draws them big. Also, it's not just 11 by 17, but they're typically 25 to 35 grand. So it's like, holy shit. But then, so I went up to he was with his wife. He was actually not at his table.
What year was that? What year was that?
2 years ago. So 2020.
2 years ago.
Yeah. And Joyce Chin, I think that's her name, is his wife. She was manning the table, and so I figured I'll ask anyways, about it. It's so funny. She basically just, she gave me that kind of price range, but what she really focused on more than anything else was trying to convince me to not bother. Just don't bother. I was like,
right. Like it's not worth the hassle.
Don't get on. Don't. She was like, first of all, we only take orders here at conventions. Okay, so you're at a convention, so that's the only way to do it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you need to understand something. Arthur got paid for several of these recreation things a few years ago, and he still hasn't gotten to them. So there's multiple people still waiting who have paid tens of thousands years ago. So she's like, literally, just tell your friend to forget about it. Just don't even bother. Don't bother, because she knows it'll probably never get done, kind of thing, and you don't have to bother them asking, hey, where it is, what's going on,
Yeah, Mark is saying you can get on the list, but it'll take forever if you don't.
Yeah, there you go.
The highest of the highest.
No, if you don't pay the top rate, I'm telling you, even though my friend,
or even if you do, it could take a long time.
It could still take a long time.
Yeah. That's what she made clear. Actually, that's what I want to make clear here, is that even though in fact, I don't think I even mentioned that, hey, my friend is willing to pay this much. I figured, why bother? Because I knew that they were a lot more than that, So she told me generally what they have sold for, and she herself said that. So even in spite of all that money, she's like, honestly, don't bother. Just don't bother getting on the list. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Marcus is inferring to pay even more to move yourself up the list.
Oh,
whatever, which is, yeah.
He does what he wants when he wants. I mean, that's known. So I don't think that would even work. I don't think that helps. You know what I mean? If your name is Mandel or Lee, you get priority.
Listen, that's a whole other topic.
A whole other thing. Exceptions to the rule and all that jazz, right? So get that. Oh yeah, we already showed that one by CJ. Night CJ. Cost of money to get to the top of the commission list.
Yeah, I already highlighted all these.
Oh, okay. It's 11. By the way, Delight Loves Movies. How is it that you were able to make it here today, given that it is, you have the day off from work today, or you're not currently working? I was kind of wondering about that, being that you're in...
That's a bit personal, Ruben.
I like to,
I'm just messing with you.
I like to get to know the new people that come in a bit. And especially because the nicer they are, the more likely it is that maybe I have an extra potential guest to come on the show one day with me, you know. But yeah, answer or don't answer, Delight. It's up to you. You can get on the list. I just wanted to see it myself, anyways. Paying more to get the. Oh yeah.
We already got
do
that.
Shouldn't be. Oh yeah, that's the thing, Lee. It's a good question. I can't blame. Yeah, I admit I asked the same thing. It's like why do that?
Marcus has the answer.
Yeah, what's signatures, lower hanging fruit stuff that more people can afford to.
Oh, for the signatures.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Check back in. Damn, Andor is great. Now a bit more Star Wars art. It's over. There's no more art, Carl.
Catch the rewind, buddy.
Catch the rewind, pal. Star Wars Day. Yeah, in Australia. You've got nothing to do. Oh, okay. Well, since I have you here, out of curiosity, give me a yes or no. Would you be ever open to coming on to any one of my shows just to hang out and talk live on camera, Delight? Let me know. CGC
is good money. Yeah.
Oh, I see. If the person wants it,
because you can charge more if they're going to CGC it, or
right?
And stuff. Yeah.
Right. That makes it like 20 or 25 rather than 5 or 10 kind of thing. Yeah. Like, bro, I got you. Okay. No, show more art. I got no more, man. Okay. Is that an okay as in you'd like to come on? I'm not sure what you mean by okay, Delight.
Email rubenthecollector@gmail.com.
Yeah, actually, thank you.
Let me put that there.
Let me put that here real quick. I'll show you so you can visualize it. So Ruben so that's my channel name, Delight. Ruben the Collector is the channel name. And yeah, if you just remember the channel name plus the Gmail, there you go. It's very easy to remember. So reach out to me if you know. I can tell you the different types of shows that I do. One of the different types of shows might be sort of up your alley to hang out and just shoot the shit with or whatever, you know. Reach out, let me know.
Marcus is wondering where all the modern Star Wars art went tonight. How come we didn't pick any? Because we would need more time.
Thank you, Delight. Where's what do you mean, the Dr. Aphra art, like this one?
He's saying where are all the new Star Wars art? Then he's listing off all the newer, things.
Oh,
Marcus doing his Marcus thing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want it to be a 24-hour, type show.
Next time.
That's right.
Special shout out to Drew Struzen, who is battling. Yes, exactly. I heard the bad news. He's been suffering for the last 2-3 years, but lately they've been reporting that things have gotten significantly worse, which is sad. There's a great DVD out there you guys should watch if you like Drew Struzen's art. I want the art that is better than Ezra. Need that Grogu. Okay. No Grogu for you guys tonight. Everybody, a reminder real quick, because I don't have a thumbnail to show you for next week. I haven't done it yet. But next week I'll be doing, I guess I have to say because I'm not sure I'll find anybody to come do it with me. Carl, unless I can guilt you into it, Carl. Thank you, Dino. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. You hung out the whole night. That's awesome, man. Appreciate it. And thank you, Tom. Thank you. Star Wars so white. I don't know what's up with you and the race thing, I don't know.
But it's all about that joke on one of Jeff's posts.
That's right.
That went way too many posts long.
Conversation can go back over to that page.
But yeah, so next week, please remember, come back. I'll be doing a career retrospective on Butch Guice. Butch Guice's artwork, Butch, who passed away 3 days ago. So I hope that's going to be fun. Remember, everybody, for next week, those of you watching from the chat, there's almost no chance I'll be able to interact with you guys. Because I'll probably be the only one talking, but even if I'm not, there's so much art that I'm going to show that there won't really be time for me to jump into the chat. So just keep that in mind. Take care, Goo. Thank you very much. You too, Rick. I appreciate it.
See you, Rick.
But that's it, guys. Jeff and Kavi, is there anything that you wanted to maybe promo or anything at all that you want to talk about before we leave everyone?
No, as you mentioned, link to my gallery is below, and I'll be posting new Star Wars art every day the rest of this month.
Yeah, check out my gallery. I'm trying to keep up with Jeff, but I probably won't by the end of the month because I always run out of steam after like a week of posting every day. But I'm trying. It's the 4th of May, and I posted 4 Star Wars pieces in May so far. Though I've managed that.
Okay, I got a couple of questions, Marcus. If you're being serious, and the reason you're asking is because it's Guice art that is not in your gallery, and you'd like me to present it, sure, that'd be fine. You can send me that. And Southern Comic Geek, Jason, I know he did some Valiant art, but there's not too many Valiant fans in my chat and my viewership. I will represent. I can't tell you whether it'll be 1 piece or 3. So we'll see, but I'll represent. Don't worry. Good night to you, Ian, and do well with Becca and the kids. Good luck. Can't believe I was able to. I can't believe you were able to stay too. That's a shock, especially after I saw your post earlier on Facebook. I was like, what the heck's going on? But thank you, appreciate it, man. I hope this was at least a little bit of a respite for you, from what's going on in the day to day. May 14th. Yeah, I'm not gonna do another show just because it's his birthday on the 14th, though. There's Star Wars without him.
That will be the one day I do not post Star Wars art.
Oh, really?
I am posting art that day, especially for George's birthday, but it's not a Star Wars piece. There's the teaser. Tune into my gallery.
No spoilers from here. That's enough. No follow-up questions, Ruben.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Very informative. See, I love that. Knowledge dropping. They appreciate it. There's always somebody who appreciates it. So thank you, everybody, again. And as I said, don't forget Nick TV on Friday. And then please be back here on Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. That's it. Go Blue!